Rib Town Hall meeting to order. But before we begin, let me just invite Pastor Elvis Francis to lead us in a word of prayer. Pastor Francis.
Okay, let us bow our heads as we honor the Lord in prayer. Father, we want to give you thanks for your goodness. We want to thank you, God, for your love towards us. We thank you, God, for your divine kindness. And Lord, we thank you that, oh God, you are a merciful God. We want to thank you, God, for today. This is the day that you have made. Help us to rejoice and to be glad in it. And we want to thank you, God, for this gathering this afternoon, this town hall meeting. We thank you, God, for the people, God, who put this meeting together. We want to pray that the blessings of the Lord will be upon each and every one. We want to thank you, God, for Dr. Darroux in our midst, oh God, and his cabinet colleagues. We commit them to you. We pray for those, oh God, who will join this meeting. We thank you for the Prime Minister, oh God. We ask, Lord God, in Jesus' mighty name, that you will have your divine way this afternoon, Lord, this evening. I want to thank you, God, for the village of Bagatelle, Fonseca, and Retiro. I want to pray for our people that the Lord will continue to help us. We pray, O God, that you will grant us, Lord, divine favor in the eyes of the government. Father, we want to thank you for all what will transpire here today. And at the end of this exercise, Lord, we all will say it was good to be here. We thank you for everything. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Francis. And indeed, it's good to be here. Let me first of all welcome everyone to this twin, triplet, or quadruplet, according to Pastor Francis. He added Retiro communities of Bagatelle, Fonseca, Point Carib, well, quintuplets, to also Retiro, better known as FAB. Let me welcome my cabinet colleagues, Honourable Ian Douglas and Honourable Senator Honourable Miriam Blanchard, Minister for Public Works, and Honourable Ian Douglas, Minister for Trade, Employment, Energy, and plenty other things, I think. We are currently awaiting the presence of the Honourable Rayburn Blackmore, the Minister of National Security, and of course our Prime Minister, who will join us a bit later. So let me, as a Member of Parliament, welcome you, as I said, to these very scenic communities, scenic and very hard-working communities. Bagatelle, Fonseca, Stowe, Point Carib, and of course Retiro. Bagatelle, of course, being home to famous legendary reggae artist Nasio Fontaine, born and bred right here in the community of Bagatelle, and also home to a number of other illustrious sons of the soul. We have one of us, although he's acting as our technician this afternoon, Mr. John Fontaine, who is the local government commissioner, among others. Of course, this is quite a unique community, or a unique group of communities. We have Fonseca, which is predominantly fishing, the Bagatelle area, agriculture, and also communities rich in culture. We have among us, I haven't seen her yet, a stalwart in local government, and also she was such a cultural elder at the Heritage, I think 2 years ago, right there in Bagatelle, Miss Ivanti Harriet, who I haven't seen her yet, okay, but very prominent community leader. Of course, as a Member of Parliament and part of the Dominican Labour Party administration, which I represent, I want to say thank you for you having traditionally supported this DLP administration. And from the onset, I want to say thanks to you, this community, the community of Bagatelle, Fonseca, for having voted me overwhelmingly for the past 2 elections. And I might add, although on many occasions, all of us are human, I might have erred, fallen short on many occasions, especially in terms of communications, etc. One cannot deny that this part of the country, especially in recent times, would have been receiving its fair share of attention from yours truly and the current Dominican Labour Party administration. And I want to thank you for continuing to support us in spite sometimes of some low moments. You continue to support myself and the Dominican Labour Party. I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Of course, this is an area, while much has been said of Petite Savanne proper, this is also an area that would have been ravaged by Tropical Storm Erika. But driving to Bagatelle, Fonseca from Roseau, there would be very little signs of the effects of tropical storm Erika, because we would have moved in swiftly as a government to do as much as we can. And while, of course, there is still a lot more to be done, which I will speak of later, and of course the Minister of Public Works is here, she will speak to some of the projects that we have planned, we would have moved in swiftly post-tropical storm Erika. Especially yours truly, I remember immediately after dealing with the catastrophe that happened at Petite Savanne, I would have moved in there personally myself, visited by the Prime Minister and other cabinet ministers, and where we handed over much needed tools, equipment, foodstuff, etc. So this area, contrary to popular belief or contrary to what has been said from time to time, received its fair share of attention post-tropical storm Erika. We would have had a number of homes destroyed by tropical storm Erika, and thankfully, as I tell people, we have to thank God for small mercies, because when compared to the 20 or so odd people who died at Petite Savanne, yes, we had damage here, but no one died. We had no loss of life, and I think we need to thank God for that sometimes. And while, yes, from time to time we have to make noise, for want of a better term, for the material things, etc., but we have to be thankful that there was no loss of life, first and foremost, and no one was seriously injured. Of course, Erika, we would have seen severe loss in terms of subsistence agricultural land, but then we would have seen some sort of improvement. We would have seen the reconstruction and rebuilding of the bay oil factories in Fonseca, and I really want to say that's a step in the right direction. We would have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars post-Erika in terms of river dredging in the twin communities of Bagatelle and Fonseca. So I now want to move on quickly because we have a number of speakers lined up for this afternoon, a number of powerhouses lined up this afternoon. So just give you a brief synopsis of my tenure thus far, especially in this current term as a member of Parliament. And I hope some of you have your calculators out, so you can begin to add figures. Because a lot of us, especially those of us who do not live in Fonseca, those of us in diaspora, or even what they call a local diaspora, yes, I have a Facebook page, and I consider myself a child of the computer age. So I do visit Facebook, and I see all of these sometimes not so savory comments that some of us put. And sometimes I wish, not that I cannot answer sometimes, but it's really not proper, to engage people in any sort of, in a negative way, especially on social media. But I do read the comment that some of you put. So I wish you have a calculator, those of you who are here, or those of you listening, to start adding up the hundreds of thousands running into the millions of dollars that we have spent in the Bagatelle Fonseca area, especially in this current financial year, and in fact in this calendar year. We would have seen significant improvement to our road infrastructure, our road network, both leading to the communities and within the communities. And I think we need to take note of that, because sometimes we only pay attention to what is done in the community, within the community. But we have to understand that we are right now almost at the dead end with Petite Savanne, of course. We know what happened to Petite Savanne. So we have to take into account, when we're talking about attention to our community, to the roads leading all the way from where we're coming from into Bagatelle and Fonseca. We would have seen major road restoration in the Pichelin area. And yes, this affects us because we have to pass through Pichelin to come to Bagatelle, Fonseca. So we have to start adding these figures when it comes to attention being given to this area. We would have seen almost over $1 million project in the Geneva area to restore this area where the Geneva River, after tropical storm Erika, devastated this area. Over $300,000 worth of roadworks in the Pichelin area to rebuild the road in the Pichelin. Remember what the Pichelin River did a number in the road leading between Pichelin and Maranatha Square. In the Dubic and Stowe area, we would have seen also significant improvements and hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on repairing the road. Talk about the main road. So yes, we have to talk about the main roads leading to the community. And I will now come to the communities themselves, within the communities, where to date we have spent over $2 million on contracts to local contractors to improve the road network within the Bagatelle, Fonseca, Stowe, and Point Carib area. More recently, especially in this calendar year, we would have seen over $250,000 being spent in the small hamlet of Stowe. And I really want to pause here a bit because I recall when this project was started that a number of our residents, okay, the comments were Stowe is just a handful of people and et cetera, but people, we don't have to be selfish, okay? We have to understand that the same things, the same needs that we have other people have these very same needs. So when something is happening, happens in another part of the constituency, yes, we can, again, for want of a better term, make noise for our own, okay, but we should never be grudgeful when something good is happening to another community. And I make no regrets, again, I want to underline that, make no regrets for this investment in the small, growing community of Stowe, because this is a community that for the very first time in any government, any member of parliament, that their road network has been given attention. And right now, the few residents of Stowe, they don't have to go and wait by the road now on the rain to wait for the bread bus or for the delivery or the services. The buses don't have to drop them on the main road and they have to climb up the hill under the rain to their homes. So while many of us, yes, there are other areas in our particular, where we live, which need attention, okay, we should never be grudgeful of when something good is happening to another part of the constituency. And we have to, that is the kind of spirit that we have to develop among ourselves and not be too selfish. So again, I make no regrets for this investment in Stowe. And those of you those of you who have not visited Stowe in a while, you should make an effort to go to Stowe to see the tremendous work that the contractor, Mr. Brian Darroux, have done within the community of Stowe. And just so you know, Stowe Estate falls under the jurisdiction of the Bagatelle Village Council. Right, Madam Chairperson? Just so you know, okay? We would have also seen road works over $200,000. I hope those of your calculator that you're adding up. The complete rehabilitation of the work from Fort St. Jean Road, from Fort St. Jean all the way back to Fab Retiro. Over $200,000, this contract split between two contractors. We also saw replacement of the culvert bridge near Mr. Boy's shop. Again, well over $100,000. Again, this culvert bridge was almost obliterated by Tropical America, and we saw the replacement of it, again, by a local contractor from Fort St. Jean. We saw road works in the entrance of Fort St. Jean, close to the Bagatelle, the old bridge next to the Bagatelle River. That's the Fort St. Jean end of the Bagatelle River. And again, we will speak to the more permanent works in a bit later down in my presentation, and the Minister of Public Works. In the area of Sene, we would have seen road works to the tune of almost $40,000 because this area past the river would have been almost eliminated. So while we knew that we had some work to do in the actual Sene, the river itself, and which we'll speak of in a while, that we had to do some work in that particular area. So I'm sure those of you who would have seen this piece of concrete work past Mr. Affa's shop leading up to Sene to the tune, I think, of over $50,000. We would have seen the road leading up to Damien in Fort St. Jean. I like to call it the Judy Road. They meet other road. They call it Damien Road. Over $150,000 spent recently to improve the road all the way up to Damien in Fort St. Jean. So people, in adding up, we can talk about millions of dollars already spent in roadworks just in the Bagatelle and Fort St. Jean area. And this is not all, because I know a lot of you will be asking, and I'm sure when the question and answer time comes around, a lot of you will be asking, what about this, what about that? Just to let you know that we, the Dominica Labour Party administration, we have made a commitment that come the end of 2017, that we would have rehabilitated all roads in all communities around the island. So already, I would have had the estimates prepared, and I see the project officer for the South within the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment right here with us, and we would have had estimates for all other community roads. So I know when the time comes, you'll ask, what about this, what about that road? Whatever road you're going to ask about, just so that the estimate is there and the money made available to rehabilitate this road. But more importantly, I know a lot of you are asking about the overall safety of our road and especially the main road. You would have heard us speak a number of times, myself and also the Minister of Public Works, as it pertains to what we call a British-funded DFID project, where the British government committed £30 million to us to rehabilitate the road from Loubaix all the way back to Bagatelle. And I said Bagatelle, not Petite Savanne, okay? And I will come to that a bit later, to Bagatelle. £30 million, multiplied by the ongoing rate of 3 point somebody we're talking about well over $100 million to be spent on the road from Loubaix to Bagatelle to take care of all the safety issues, the stabilization of some of the cliff areas, the bridges that need to be replaced, the bridges that need to be built. And I'm sure the question you're going to ask is, what about this sandy area? Because I know this is one of the problem areas. And again, I want to pause here a while, and I'll tell you why. I meet frequently with with my village council and also villagers. And sometimes I express my disappointment when sometimes I see people, they go on social media and to make it appear that the area has been abandoned, especially after Erika. And I really beg to differ. I just give you all of the money that we've spent thus far, and I'm coming to more. But we recognize that this area is an area that's going to be needing some serious money for any permanent intervention. However, bearing in mind the sometimes long drawn-out processes and time that needs to be that we take sometimes to draw down into the funds, internationally funded projects such as this DFID project, yours truly, with the cooperation or blessings of the Honourable Minister of Finance, would have moved in to intervene temporarily. So as we speak, we would have contracted someone to do some what they call temporary works in the Senate area, because we recognize that more than likely, and again the Minister of Public Works might maybe allude to that, and more than likely works on this major project will not start probably until the middle of next year. So bearing in mind the hurricane season, and every time it rains, we see what happens, that we would have engaged a contractor to do some temporary works for us in the Senate area, where we're going to have this concrete runover and, of course, pedestrian crossing. So every time it rains, I wouldn't have to see the residents on Facebook, okay, giving the PAL rep and the government blows that we're not taking care of the Bagatelle people, okay, bearing this in mind. So while we have not seen any actual work on the ground, the work has started because the contractor has told me that he would have started a lot of the steel work and stuff at his home or in his workshop or his workyard, whatever the case may be. So in the next week or so, we should see the heavy equipment come in to do the dredging and to start the actual work in the Sandy area. So we wanted to look at this, as we said, as a temporary measure, because I would have heard your cries. And while sometimes the feeling was we should just wait for maybe the major works to start to see what major intervention could be done here, as a PAL rep, they will tell at the cabinet level that I've said I don't think we can I cannot spend another year of every time people messaging me or send me pictures or calling me every time it rains, the people in the Senate area. So we are going to do some temporary interventions in that area. Okay, so I really think that I'm hoping that this will at least placate, some of the few residents on the post, I see my favorite Senate resident smiling on the other side of the river. In the area of washroom and sanitation, and of course, this is also another very much talked about government program, where 2 or 3 years ago, the Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, we decided to launch what they call a war on pit latrines. And this, of course, provoked a lot of laughter, a lot of ridicule from people, especially people from the opposition. But yours truly, as a medical doctor, as a resident, as a poor country boy who knows what it's like to use a pit latrine, and medical doctor, Minister of Health, and the citizens of Dominica, okay, from the onset, I have supported this program 100%, 1,000, according to my son, 1 zillion trillion %. And I'll tell you why. Because while a lot of us, especially those living from Roseau, we like to say from the tongue side, they would not have known, or they would not know the discomfort of using a pit latrine, especially by our senior citizens. So while it is a modest project, it's a modest investment, we look at it as a very almost lowly project. There's nothing lowly about it, and I'll tell you why. To date, and Madam Chairperson is here, she can correct me if I'm wrong, you can tell him Dr. Darroux lying if he's lying. We received the first tranche of $285,000 towards the construction of 25 washrooms. And just 2 weeks ago, we received an additional $584,000 towards the construction of a further 50 or so indoor washroom facilities. So we're talking about a grand total of $870,000 towards washroom construction in the Bagatelle area, people. Almost $1 million then, okay, for those of us to understand, towards the construction of 75+ washroom facilities. And while each washroom in the region of $11,000 to $14,000, collectively, you can see such a tremendous number of money that's being invested in Bagatelle. So those of you who have calculators, I hope you're adding up again. I hope you're adding up. And yours truly, the Member of Parliament for the Petite Savanne Constituency, and in particular the Bagatelle Fusage area, I want to let you and the world know that come the end of this year, we can safely say that we have completely eradicated pit latrines in the Bagatelle and Fort Saint-Jean area. 100% latrines completely eradicated in the Bagatelle and Fort Saint-Jean area. So this is significant, as I said, a significant investment in health. We know the health issues that the outside latrines bring with it. Dignity, people, dignity. I mean, you have no idea what it's like to wake up in the middle of the night under a heavy shower, it's raining, to go a few hundred meters away to an outdoor facility with no lights, etc. The comfort and the dignity that this brings to our people, especially our senior citizens. And I consider that every cent of these $870,000 worth spending in the Bagatelle area. And I really want to thank the village council, the chairperson and the village council for their support thus far in implementing this project. And I'm sure some of you would have had your maybe questions as to some issues, especially the first rung of washrooms. But we would have put in things in place to correct it, and we hope that this time around, we're optimistic that this time around that the project goes much more smoothly. And I really want to thank a couple of the contractors. It's worth mentioning Mr. McCannell Fountain and Ricardo Son, who have done a tremendous job and given the people and the government and the community their money's worth as it pertains to the washroom facilities. Housing continues to remain a serious issue in the Bagatelle area, and although we would have seen some sort of assistance given from time to time towards reparation of houses, etc., the issue of housing, proper housing for the citizens of that part of the country remains a major issue. In light of this, and especially post-Erika, we would have had a few citizens who would have lost their homes. And I want to reassure them, in fact, after Erika, I would have met with these people who lost their homes, that they are going to be replaced in the Belleville-Chopin community. And we would have had a delay in the completion of the Petrocasas because, of course, we know what's going on in Venezuela. But just to reassure you that the government is going to take on the completion of these houses themselves, and then pretty soon you will be given your home. That is those who lost their homes during Tropical Storm Erika. So I want to thank you for your patience and your understanding thus far. But as I was saying, the housing situation continues to be a problem. Recently, a few months ago, myself and the Prime Minister would have spent more than a few hours at the Bagatelle Community Center. And my idea is that 80% of the people who visit us want to do with housing. So following this visit, we would have sent a number of housing officers in the area, and we would have put together an exhaustive list of the housing needs in the Bagatelle Fossage area. And come the post-budget period, yours truly, together with the assistance of the Minister of Finance, will begin to address the housing issues in a very meaningful way. Not to replace one galvanizer to galvanize, but to address the housing issues once and for all. Just to let you know, as I said, it's a tremendous list. And again, I want to crave your patience and your understanding that everybody will not be able to be addressed at once. But we will go in a systematic, we will begin to address it in a systematic way. And I really want each and every one of you to bear with us and to understand when this process started. Again, with the advent of Tropical Storm Erika which obliterated almost Petite Savanne and Dubic, things are going to be a lot easier to manage. I'll tell you why. Because right now, we are well on the way to the resettling of the Petite Savanne people in Belleville-Chopin. Dubic would have been taken care of, which means that as it pertains to housing, I would only have the areas of Bagatelle, Pichelin, and of course Belleville-Chopin to take care of. So rest assured that your housing issues will be dealt with. Sports, which is very close to me. Over the years, you would have seen significant work done on the playing field in terms of fencing, etc. And I invited some of you to a handing over ceremony a couple of weeks ago, although very little of you showed up, where we handed over a check of $120,000 to the Bagatelle Sports Committee towards the improvement of the playing field and basketball court. $120,000 to go towards the lighting of the playing field, the lighting and improvement of what I like to call the modernization of the Bagatelle basketball court. My friend from Pichelin is here, Yannick, a member of the Pichelin Sports Committee, and Pichelin would have set the benchmark, the standard for basketball court on the island, right, Yannick? And we are hoping that what we are hoping to do is to emulate this, what we did in Pichelin, in Bagatelle. So Bagatelle will have a modern hardcourt lighting, etc. The check would have been handed over to the sports committee already, and already would have met with them to decide the way forward as to how we're going to go about implementing this project. In the area of education, Allow me to go back a few years, and in fact, this very area where we're in, the very primary school, 3-4 years ago, the Minister of Education is here. He will tell you that your school was in a really deplorable condition. And he will tell you that I pursued aggressively, because every year the Ministry of Education would have a budget for what they call reparations or repairs to school. And the Minister of Education did not have a chance with me, and he will tell that to you. I kept on breathing down his neck every minute to ensure that we did repair works in the Bagatelle Primary School. And while it's not a university, but no one can deny the tremendous improvement to the school and the ambience for the children. We also boast of one of the model preschools on Ireland, which is downstairs, one of the model preschools or early childhood institutions in Dominica. The Bagatelle Fossés communities would have also received their fair share of ongoing government programs as it pertains to education, the uniform assistance, and many of you take advantage of this. Through my office, constituency office in Pishneh, I had the Minister of Education again saying, oh yes, sometimes they feel that I stretch it, because the Minister of Education is here, and I think you can ask him. Sometimes we are told that, boss, we cannot help more than 50 of your students. But he will tell you by the time he's done with me that I'm well in the region, maybe sometimes over 200 or so students. Okay, so I go all out, and I make no apologies for that, for trying to help out, especially the less fortunate ones, as it pertains to uniform assistance. Transportation, the textbook scheme. All of you, most of you, okay, who have children attending secondary school would have benefited from the textbook assistance through my Pishneh constituency office. And again, I want to thank the Minister of Education and the Office of the Prime Minister for responding to me over the past few years. Ongoing scholarship and tuition at Dominica State College. A few of you who attend here would also benefit from this. As we speak, we have 2 students from the area studying overseas, thanks to assistance being paid by the government, their tuition. But I'd like to pause here a minute, because to be honest and from my heart, I get a little disappointed that not enough people from this area, okay, taking advantage of all of these educational opportunities available. And I need to tell you that the young ones, okay, this is the opportunity. I remember growing up, I was the only person, maybe from the entire South, between maybe Grand Bay and Petite Savanne, who attended college in my days. Okay, because they said I used to be smart. I'm not sure what happened to all of that. I used to be smart. But right now, each and everybody has the opportunity to be what they want to be, with all of the assistance that is being given by your present administration. But I don't see enough young people in the area taking advantage. And what we see happening, and what we hear happening, I hear the comments, when they hear of somebody from another community going, they think that you're favoring that person. No. The person from the other community put themselves forward, and they express their interest in going to study, and the assistance was given to them. There's no one present here who can say that they do not know of all of the assistance that government is giving to education. Anybody that's here, I tell them, I say, you can Mati. Okay, you know of the assistance that is being offered. You have to put yourself forward. Myself, the Member of Parliament for Grand Bay, and together the Member of Parliament for Grand Bay, we meet every year. We meet with the graduates of the Petite Secondary School to meet with them, to guide them, and of course to let them know the various programs that are in place for the young people in Dominica, which of course includes the people from Bagatelle, Fossés. So when you hear somebody from Petite Savanne going to study, somebody from Belleville or Pishneh, as we speak, I have 3 students studying medicine to be doctors from Belleville, Chopin. Why isn't there somebody from Bagatelle studying to be a doctor right now? The Minister of Education will tell you that, in fact, most of the times the scholarships for the medical scholarships, he basically leaves it up to me and tell me, okay, doc, you go through the criteria, the applications, and recommend to me. So I can safely say most times I'm the one who chooses the people to go to those scholarships. Why isn't there anybody from Bagatelle Fossés studying to be a doctor right now? You cannot blame the PAL rep or the government. You have to express the interest. You come forward, and we will do the rest. Okay, so I must express my disappointment, and hoping that my disappointment will now spur you, the parents, and of course the young people listening, to take advantage or better advantage of the good things that we have to offer as it pertains to education. In the area of employment, again, the Honourable Minister is here, and every now and then he tells me that I have overstretched his budget. But as we speak, we have almost 40 interns employed under the National Employment Program. And those of you visitors driving up, you would have seen a tremendous job that these people are doing on our main roads and our community roads. I want to especially recognize the Point Carib crew, if I may be allowed to call you that. Because the work that you do, I'm sure you are aware, is work that we would be paying people thousands of dollars to do before. And most of you are ladies, well-built, strong ladies, yeah? Well-built, strong ladies. And I really want to thank you, and I hope the community appreciates the work that you're doing under the National Employment Program. So when you hear people talking their bêtises about the NEP, okay, là, on ne parle de bêtises about the NEP. I, for one, am a strong supporter of the NEP. I can see the benefits of the NEP. And because these are 35 or 40 people who right now can supplement their income to take care of their families, especially those taking care, those involved in the beautification and cleanup of the communities. You don't have to travel to Roseau. You don't have to pay a bus to go to town. You don't have to think of buying uniform. You don't have to pay for lunch, whatever. So whatever little money that you get is going to help you to supplement your income and, of course, to take care of your family. So we need to continue to pray for this government. We need to continue to pray for the CBI, which is where most of the funding come to fund a lot of these programs like the NEP. We need to recognize that. We need to recognize the importance that the NEP is playing. And I know we've had a few little administrative hiccups as it pertains to the NEP, but just rest assured that everything will be worked out in the next couple of days. Okay, so once again, Mr. Minister, I want to thank you, sir, for approving. Every time I send a few names to you, for approving until right now, I think you said I've based your budget, but a few more will be coming, so rest assured. As it pertains to the future plans for the area, we know that this is a very strong fishing community, in particular Font Saint-Jean. And I can reassure you that in this year's budget, we have quite a significant sum of money put aside towards works in the Font Saint-Jean landing site. So while we would have seen an increase in people landing their fish or their catch at Stowe, we cannot deny the fact, or we cannot take away the fact that Font Saint-Jean has been the traditional fishing community. So recognizing that, we are going to invest $250,000 towards works in the Font Saint-Jean area, the landing site. Because over the years, I've come under tremendous pressure. Every time, after every storm, phone calls, okay, to send heavy equipment to clear up the bayside, etc. So we're hoping that with the advent of these works, that these calls and this MAPE and everything will ease up. That whatever works we're going to do, it will allow fishermen to continue to pull in their boats even after inclement weather. Also, I would have submitted on the request of the Honourable Prime Minister a list of requests for fishermen in terms of boats and engines, etc. So we're hoping again after the budget that the funds can come through so I can meet some of these demands. Speaking of the Stowe landing site, I remain very optimistic. You would recall that when I became the PAL rep that I was pursuing very vigorously a Japanese-funded project towards the construction of a fishing complex in the Stowe area. And again, that prompted a lot of discussion. Why not Font Saint-Jean? Why Stowe? Why not Grand Bay? Why, etc., etc. I would have explained to you on a number of occasions that a lot of these decisions are based on technical advice. And again, when the engineers and the Japanese came and they looked at Stowe, they looked at Font Saint-Jean, they looked at Grand Bay, they looked at a couple of the areas along this coast, the decision to plan to construct this complex to be at Stowe was their decision. And we as a government, we take decisions based on technical advice, sound technical advice. Again, I've been reassured by the Fisheries Division, although this has been a project long spoken about, long in talking, that the project is still on stream. And in fact, as we speak, he told me that in the next couple of weeks, that another team of Japanese are going to come down to look at the site again and to begin further discussions. In fact, prior to Tropical Summer America, we would have seen a flurry of activity in terms of engineers coming in the area, etc. So I'm still optimistic that this fisheries complex in the Stowe area will be constructed. I spoke about housing already. We spoke about the exhaustive list of housing issues, housing needs that we have. And again, I would have received the commitment from the Honourable Prime Minister that we will begin to look at this housing list in a systematic manner until everybody's needs are met. We will continue to develop the village roads. I mentioned earlier, we would have had all the estimates of all the other community roads, talking about the Cardboard Road, the much talk about Farlin Square to join in the Cardboard Road, a number of little village roads in the project area, Fonseca area. All of these estimates already within my files, as the project officer will tell you. And we're hoping that as soon as the budget is passed, that we'll continue to roll out our community road rehabilitation project, and all of this will be addressed. I spoke about the Sene area, and it's an area that has been very controversial, probably the most popular area from Fonseca on Facebook every time it rains. But as I said, recognizing the negative impact that this area had on the few residents post Mr. Affa's shop, I call it, that we are going to put some temporary measures in place, and we're hoping that this will at least placate you until such time as more permanent works are done. So, as I said, the contractor has already begun work in terms of the steel works, etc. And in the next week or so, we should see work actually start in this area. Of course, while we were in the Sene area, I remember when the Prime Minister visited, we met with a few residents from the Sene area. And of course, I think we also have to begin the discussion of relocation. Okay? We also have to begin the discussion of relocation for these citizens, because, I mean, it doesn't have to take an expert to tell you that this area is a very vulnerable area. So that I think that is something that you have to begin to have at the back of your mind, that sooner or later, okay, we have to start having some serious discussion in having to ask some, if not most of you, all of you rather, to probably relocate. I spoke about sports. We'll continue to develop the playing field. We just received, I said, $120,000. So rest assured that we will continue until this area is turned into something that, of course, each and every member of the community can be proud of. Small business. I know a number of you have been asking me, will everybody getting small business all around Dominica? We are our own, right? A couple of weeks ago, I would have met with a number of people interested in small business at the community center. I would have distributed a number of application forms. So I'm in the process right now. I think we're supposed to meet in the next week or so, collect these forms, tabulate the amount, so we can make the request. Again, I gave some advice at this meeting that not everybody should go and invest in a barbecue grill or a snack it, because you could have 50 snack it or barbecue grills in one little community of Bagatelle people, okay? So when you selecting the small business that you want to start, bear this in mind, okay, that you can only have so much of a certain type of business in one community. So we ask you to be innovative, explore new territories, uncharted waters, as we call it, and pretty sure I can promise you that your application will receive a favorable response if we see that it's something that's going to be sustainable. Okay, but when everybody come and ask for money and you put snack it, I mean, if you have 20 snack it in project, everybody will sell one barbecue. You know what I mean? They go to Kool-Aid, right? So let us bear this in mind when we're doing the selection. In conclusion, people, because I have other speakers after me, I want to thank you again for your 2 times confidence in me, voting me. And I'm pretty sure if there's a third time, okay, there will be a third time. Again, I would like to apologize, as I said, for sometimes the occasional break in communication visibility. I would have listened to a number of you, and especially my constituency association. And while I can give many quote-unquote excuses, busy, family, etc., no excuse is good enough, okay, for not dealing with your constituents. So bearing this in mind and listening to your suggestions, may push sometimes, that I have made a conscious decision that every other week, instead of being in the office in Pichley, that every other week that I will meet the constituents of Bagatelle and Fonseca in the community center. So I'll have 1 week in Pichley and the following week in the community center. In that way, I think it'll go a long way into improving the visibility and, of course, the people that I serve. So I want to recommit myself to you, as I said, recommit myself to you. I want to thank my cabinet colleagues for their support, all their support, and especially my constituency association, who I meet, especially in the dark times. Yes, being a parliament minister government can be very lonely, especially when things are not going your way. And then I want to thank them for their support and for them reassuring me every time and then giving me the strength to move on. Yeah. And also the constituents. The little Mapui from time to time helps. Okay, it's taken in good faith. I know 99% of it is done in good faith because you want me to be a better member of parliament to serve you and it's better. So I'm telling you that the little Mapui from time to time is taken in good faith, which is why I just made the adjustment that I think every other week it would be good if I see the people in the Bagatelle Community Center instead of having every week in Pichland. So I want to ask you to continue to pray for your government, to continue to pray for your member of parliament, your ministers of government, to continue to pray for the prime minister, the visionary prime minister that we have, who has managed to keep Dominica afloat after Tropical Storm Erika. Tropical Storm Erika left us a debt of $1.4 billion, people. Billion, the one with the B, the one with the 9 zeros, $1 billion. We lost almost 100% of our gross domestic product. Now, under other circumstances, any other government would come to its citizens and say, listen, okay, we're going to ask you to take a pay cut. We're going to have to increase taxes. We're going to have to maybe get your salary late. Okay, we're going to have to ask you to make sacrifices in order to make the money to repair the country. None of this has happened since Tropical Storm Erika. Instead, we have seen an increase in projects and programs after Tropical Storm Erika. And this is important. We need to underline this. This is important because a lot of things that are happening that we're taking for granted, the roads, the washrooms. You should ask yourself, but hold on a while, 2 years ago we had a hurricane, and then we still have places to rebuild. However, the government continues to increase its projects, increase its programs to serve you. And the Bagatelle facility area have brought witness to this increase in projects and programs. So you need to continue to pray for your visionary Prime Minister who had the vision in renewing and restructuring the CBI, the Citizenship by Investment Program, that is right now a steady source of revenue to Dominica so we can continue to serve you. The relocation of Petite Savanne, in closing, which is your neighbor, over $100 million is going to be spent to relocate the Petite Savanne settlements. And while a lot of them talking the nonsense and all sorts of nonsense, I want to let them understand that your government, we could have taken the easy way out. We could have said, let us fix the road, let us put back light, let us put back water and go and debut yourself in Petite Savanne. But it would have been very irresponsible on our part if we didn't listen to the advice of the expert telling us that Petite Savanne is no longer inhabitable for any length of time. So we took a decision to ask Petite Savanne to relocate, and we are providing homes. And those of you who have not visited Belleville, as I said earlier, you should go stop and see the wonderful work that is going on in Belleville. A modern village community is going to be built. Completely playing field, basketball court, a mini mall. Yes, a mall. I spoke about the playing field, community center, farmers market, all towards building bigger and better for the Petite Savanne constituents. So those of you who from time to time entertain the nonsense that they speak, I know they have to pass through Bagatelle to go to Petite Savanne from time to time, and they will stop at the shops and talk nonsense. You need to let them know that the easiest thing we could have done was to tell them to go back to Petite Savanne. Okay, but it will be the very people who will be saying that we don't care, we leave them to die in Petite Savanne. Because these are the very same ones who, after Erika, they were putting pressure on me, where your government to take us out of there. Okay, just so you know. Okay, so I stand resolute in solidarity with the government's decision to ask people to relocate. Who want to stay up there and take their chances, all power to them. Okay, just to know that yours truly will not be a part of any rescue mission like what happened after Tropical Storm Erika. So before I end again, let me just say it's really a privilege for me to have such wonderful constituents, such wonderful supporters, and I look forward, of course, to the question and answer round and the open forum to your constructive criticism. All we're asking is that whatever suggestions or criticism you're going to make, Mapui is a normal part of our life, so you can give a Mapui. Please do it in a nice and respectable manner, and we'll try to answer you and address them to the best of our ability. I want to thank you for listening to me. Thank you very much. I forgot I'm supposed to be the chairperson. Okay, so after listening to my very few words, I would like to welcome to the podium a good friend of mine, Honourable Senator Miriam Blanchard, who no doubt in her 2 years so far as a parliamentarian and a government minister, she has made waves. She's the one who actually rocked the parliamentary opposition during the last parliamentary sitting. And she's a Minister of Public Works. And given the tremendous work, the tremendous portfolio, the Public Works Ministry, the fact that a young woman is heading this ministry speaks volumes to her character. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Miriam Blanchard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your kind words, let's say. Before I begin, let me recognize at the head table the chairperson, someone you know very well, your hard-working, committed, energetic parliamentary representative, Dr. the Honourable Kenneth Darroux. I also want to recognize my cabinet colleagues, Honourable Ian Douglas at the head table, with us Honourable Peter St. Jean, Honourable Cassius Darroux, Honourable Dennis Charles, our friend, party supporter who's come to us all the way from Salisbury, Shanks Esprit. Also, I noticed another photo with us from the executive of the political arm of the government, Ms. Afinia Benjamin from Wesley. And of course, to you, the wonderful people of Bagatelle, good afternoon. And thank you for your warm welcome. I was able to meet a few of you before we started, and I cannot say that I didn't get a warm welcome. I remember a lady said to Honourable Sensha, she's never met me. I had to turn back and say, but you didn't give me a hug, you know. Look, this gentleman came and gave me a hug. So you owe me a hug, Fontaine, remember that, okay? It is a pleasure to be here to support my colleague, a colleague who I've already explained is hardworking, a colleague that I can say to you, after sitting in the Cabinet of Dominica for over 2 years, is one who has your best interests at heart. A colleague that I can say to you is committed to improving the lives of the citizens of this constituency. And ladies and gentlemen, I think you owe him a big thank you. Let us say thank you to Honourable Darroux. I am lucky though. I am here in my capacity as a Minister for Public Works and Ports. And you know what my portfolio involves. I'm the one who's charged with the responsibility of fixing roads and bridges. Nothing exciting. So I have an easy job here tonight, this evening. I want to talk to you today about a project that I'm very passionate about. About a project in the portfolio of the government at this time, which brings me a lot of excitement. And why? Because I think once this project gets underway and completed, it will completely transform the landscape of your area. A project that I know you've heard about on many occasions since Tropical Storm Erika. And I know deep down each of you are excited about that project, ladies and gentlemen. A project that once done is going to impact positively on the lives of everyone here this afternoon and in your neighboring communities as well. And I have no doubt that once we have implemented this project, all of you here today and the neighboring communities are going to say with one voice that your government is working for you, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here speaking about the project that we refer to in the government system as the Loubier to Bagatelle Road Rehabilitation Project. That's a project you know about, right, ladies and gentlemen? Yes. Are you looking forward to this project? Yes. Are we all excited about what your government is doing for you? Perfect. I'm going to give you a very brief background about the project. Even if I know you know already, I just want to make sure that everybody knows, because it's important to me, for me to feel your excitement. It's a project that every time I get an update on it, I smile. And I must say before I go further, it's a project that every time your power rep sees me, he wants an update on that project. He doesn't trust that I'm going to send it to him. He reminds me. And what does that say to you, ladies and gentlemen? Your power rep is aware of the impact that project will have on your lives. And what is he doing? He's making sure he stays on top of it because you're at the center of his mind. And ladies and gentlemen, I need you to remember that at all times. What is that project about? That project is going to cover approximately 20 kilometers of road, from the Lubia Grand Bay Junction all the way to your beautiful community of Bagatelle. And someone may ask, why is the government going to invest so much time and funds into that project? Ladies and gentlemen, we're aware of your vulnerabilities. We know that that road is your only road, especially now, since Petite Savanne has been deemed unsafe. This is your only way to get into the city of Roseau, which is the capital city. People have to go to work in Roseau. People have to send their kids to school. You must go to Roseau. It's not as if you can stay in Bagatelle and pretend like Roseau doesn't exist. We understand the importance of that road to you, and because of that, you know what they say in Dominica, put your money where your mouth is? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're doing. We know it's important to you, so it's important to us, this Dominica Labour Party government. So I want to say to you today, you're in good hands with us. Just sit back and trust that we are taking care of you, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the before the project began, the engineers of the Ministry of Public Works, based on their experience, based on interactions with you from the community, they prepared what we consider a scope of the project. In other words, what will that project include? That project is going to include the construction of 12 to 14 large culvert crossings. And I don't think I have to explain why. Ladies and gentlemen, remember what happened after Tropical Storm Erika, or rather during the Tropical Storm Erika? What happened? We saw a lot of flooding. And when we asked ourselves, or when we looked at what was causing it, we had a lot of rain for Erika in a short space of time. And what we were shocked by, and many of you as well, was the fact that even if it seemed like we've had so much rain in the past, for some reason, then it appeared that those culverts, those large drains that are there to take the water away from the road, away from our homes, suddenly the culverts that were okay for us for many, many years suddenly seemed inadequate. They were suddenly too small to accommodate the amount of water that we had from Tropical Storm Erika. And remember as well, when you have a lot of rain, especially considering our terrain, the fact that we have a lot of hills, when the water is coming down or rushing down from a hill, what happens? Whatever it finds in its way is going to take with it. So what you found happening was sometimes we had tree trunks, we had leaves, we had garbage probably on the side of the road. And what it did was it blocked the culvert. And that led to widespread flooding. And your area, unfortunately, was one of the most affected, if not the most affected area in the case of Petite Savanne. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are learning from our experiences. And what we're going to do, we're going to build back better than we did before. And one way we're going to do this with your project is to ensure that our culvert structures are now going to be much larger than they were before. Included in the project scope that we provided to the consultant is the construction of 3 new bridges. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at the replacement of the Bailey Bridge in Geneva, the Pichelay Bridge, and a new one in Mitcham. The Prime Minister first made the announcement of the bridge in Mitcham at the Town Hall in Grand Bay. And we stopped to look at that area very recently when we were doing a site visit with the consultants. And I'm saying to you today that they understand that this is a vulnerable area, and they have already in their mind started to think about the location of such a bridge. Another area that we're going to look at as well is what I'm not an engineer, I must say, but the engineers have a nice way for, you know, when the road just falls down, the engineers call it a road edge failure. You know, we have a lot of them on the road to your community, and those edge failures do what? They pose a risk to you who walk and who drive on that road. And ladies and gentlemen, this Dominica Labour Party is concerned about your safety and your well-being. And because of our concern for your safety, we are going to make sure that all of the major edge failures are going to be addressed. In some cases, they will have to put in guardrails. in other cases to make sure that the road is wide enough, and then we don't have a reoccurrence, that we don't have another part of the road that's going to fall. They're going to have to go into the cliff, where they shave the cliff or they cut through the cliff in order to make it flat so that the road can be a little wider. What we call coastal protection works in the area of Dubic, where they're going to look again at that Dubic cliff, which I'm sure none of us want to drive in that area, especially when it's raining. Cliff assessment and intervention, again in the Dubic area, which is self-explanatory. As we heard from your PAREP, this project that I'm so excited about is going to be funded through the generosity of the British government. They have pledged between 25 and 30 million pounds sterling. In EC dollars, that's about over 100 million EC dollars. And ladies and gentlemen, your government is very happy, and we're very grateful for that grant, because that grant is going to allow us, this Labour Party government, to meet the needs of all of you here today, to meet the needs and concerns that you have about the vulnerability of your area, from the Loubier all the way up to your beautiful village. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you join me in saying thank you to the British government for their generosity. I have to share a secret with you guys, but remember, it's a secret, eh? You hear one project for $100 million. You know how many PAREPs in cabinet wish they had that money for their constituencies? You hear one in the front here telling me? Ladies and gentlemen, how you think you get that money? Your PAREP is working. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. When you went on election day and put that X by the Dominica Labour Party and your Honourable Dr. Kenneth Darroux, you did not do it in vain, ladies and gentlemen. No, you did not. Ladies and gentlemen, he didn't leave it to chance, you know. Your PAREP didn't just talk to his colleagues, you know, about wanting money assigned to that area. When he wasn't sure just talking to us was going to be enough, he went straight to the Minister of Finance to negotiate on your behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in safe hands with Dr. Darroux, I say to you today. Going back to our project again, I know you've heard about it for a long time, and I want to spend just a few minutes to explain to you the modalities of how it works. How does it, when a foreign government says they're going to give you money, how does that happen? Let me say to you up front, they never just send a check to us, and I think the Prime Minister, Minister for Finance, appreciates that. He prefers it that way. In the case of the monies from the British government, the funds are being channeled through the Caribbean Development Bank. And what is happening here is the CDB is a long-standing institution in the Caribbean whose reputation is very good. So the British government says it's okay, let's put the money through there. But what does that mean? It means there are a number of things that must be done, and in a particular way, before the monies can be disbursed. So it's taking a long time, but it's okay. Rest assured that although it took a long time to get us where we are today, it meant that at the end of the day, when that contract was issued in April of this year to a consulting firm, a UK-based consulting firm, it meant that we got the best of the best. Because what happened when we sent off that bid, it was advertised not just in Dominica or in the Caribbean, it was also advertised internationally. So you had international firms who were able to compete with each other to try to get that contract. So ladies and gentlemen, you have a firm, Mott MacDonald, that comes well recommended. So I have no doubt that at the end of the day, once we have designs for that project, you will have no problems. So although it took a long time, I think it was time well spent getting the very best skills possibly money could buy to attend to your needs, ladies and gentlemen. So what I just pointed out was we signed a contract in April of this year for what we call a feasibility study, which was going to lead to designs. So what does that mean? The feasibility studies means they're going to have engineers on the ground, and I know a number of you have already interacted with those engineers that have been on the ground. So they're going to come, they're going to look at what is happening along the entire road, and based on their experience and their technical expertise, they will say to us what needs to be done, but more importantly, how it should be done. Remember I said we have the best of the best. You are in good hands, ladies and gentlemen. So what I want to ask of you tonight, so I'm not just here to share, I came for a favor too. I want to ask something of you tonight. In March of this year, I was at a Pichelin town hall, and I explained in Pichelin that one of the first lessons that I learned as a Minister for Public Works and Ports is the importance of hearing from you, the people of the different communities. It's the importance of hearing from you what your experiences are, what is it you've seen. So for instance, you're the one who lives in Bagatelle or in Fort Saint-Jean. You're the ones who know what happens during the passage of a storm, during the passage of tropical storm Erica. The engineers don't live here. So they're not going to be able to just look at it and know everything they need to know. It is up to you, the residents, to say to them, you know this particular area, this is what happens when it rains a lot. This is what happens thereafter. So I'm here today to ask a favor of you. We're going to have town hall meetings, as I promised in March, and your town hall meeting is going to be on Wednesday. I want each and every one of you to take time off your busy schedules to come to meet our consultants. And remember, I say our, and I speak on your behalf. They're your consultants too, because they're your government's consultants, ladies and gentlemen. It's important to come out to meet with them. Come and say to them what it is that you think they need to know. Which are the areas that you are concerned about? Because at the end of the day, as the Minister for Public Works, it is not my project. This is your project, ladies and gentlemen. And you have an opportunity on Wednesday to take control of the project that your government, through the able representation of Dr. Kenneth Darroux, has made possible for you. So I expect to hear that all of you are going to be there on Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you. 6 o'clock. Just one more point on that road project. We did not leave you on your own to deal with the consultants. 2 weeks ago, if my memory serves me right, your PAREP and I took a drive along the entire road because we had representatives from the consulting firm. In fact, the head of that consulting firm assigned to the project in Dominica drove with your PAREP and myself, which was a perfect opportunity so we can convince him of everything we needed to do. And what did we do? We stopped on different points along the road so we can point out to them what was important. And I think that was a Thursday, so you have to blame me if you didn't see him on that Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. But he was looking after your business anyway, even if he wasn't in your communities. And ladies and gentlemen, I think God works in mysterious ways. When we got to the end of the road, to the same Senate, yes, you know what happened? We could not leave. If you see rain. Now, I had joked with someone, you know, that we should have plenty of rain so they can see what it is that you guys are going through. But you mustn't say things too loud sometimes, you know. If you see rain, you couldn't even see how you're driving to go down. I have no doubt, when we got to Roseau, the consultant who was with us, he said to me, they're going to have a tete-a-tete. They're going to sit down between themselves, the Caribbean Development Bank officials, as well as the British government officials who were here. They were going to sit down and have a meeting. You know what they were talking about? I wasn't there, but I know what they were talking about. They had to have been speaking of their experience driving back on that road in that rain. Ladies and gentlemen, your government is working for you. We have your interests, your safety, and your well-being at heart. and we are working for you. And I say to you once more that that project, we understand the vulnerabilities of the area in which you live, and this project is going to address these vulnerabilities. But once again, I want to ask for your cooperation. I'm asking you to adopt the project like I have, and I'm asking you to come out and interact with the consultants so that they can hear from you and understand exactly what it is that you have been through. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Blanchard. And you see, people, I told you, she's not easy. She didn't run for election, but I'm not sure what she's waiting for. But I have no doubt that if she makes that plunge, that she will do an excellent job as a member of parliament, representing the people. And just before I call on the next speaker, I think it is worth re-mentioning or reiterating when sometimes we hear, again on social media, lots of times like people on the outside, that nothing is happening, the government, don't worry, they say, with the Petite Savanne Constituency. We're talking about over $100 million, this defeat project, and I mentioned an ongoing project of the Petite Savanne resettlement, another $100 million. Tell me which other constituency, Honourable Douglas, we have over $200 million being spent or about to be spent in Dominica right now, none other. Okay, so when I say that I am satisfied with the attention that is being given to the Petite Savanne constituency as a member of parliament, rest assured that I am satisfied. And everybody knows I'm very vocal. If I wasn't, I would say that I wasn't. Without no further ado, let me welcome to the podium a man, dynamic speaker, stalwart, long-time Minister of Government, long-time Member of Parliament for the Portsmouth constituency, and currently the Minister for Trade, Energy and Employment, the Right Honourable Ian Douglas.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kenneth Darroux, Parliamentary Representative for the Petite Savanne Constituency and Minister for Health and the Environment. Honourable Miriam Blanchard, Minister for Public Works and Ports and Infrastructure. Honourable Peter Seja, Minister for Education and Human Resource Development. Honourable Cassius Darroux, Minister for Kalinago Affairs. Honourable Dennis Charles, Member of Parliament for the Soufriere constituency. It's good to have you here in spite of the fact that you have died first in Point Michel this afternoon. You're here with us. It shows your commitment. We're very happy for that. Mr. Nichols Esprit, better known as Shanks, in the Ministry of Agriculture. Ms. Afinia Benjamin, all of the other distinguished guests in our midst. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. People of Point Caribe, Retirou, Fab, Forces Jean, Bagatelle, good afternoon. That's a better welcome. Thank you very much. I thought you were sleeping. I thought you were sleeping on me. Thank you very much. After such a fabulous delivery by your PAL rep and the Minister for Ports, I was wondering what was happening. But I'm happy to know that you are here with us. And the hall is filled. That shows your commitment and your support for what your PAL rep has been doing. And I want you to put your hands together for yourselves this afternoon. And I want to tell you something about your PAL rep, and I hesitate to say it on air because we're being recorded here. But I want to tell you to support this guy. Dr. Darroux is a very serious fella. I'll tell you why I tell you that. First person I know, and I have been in Parliament now for 17 years. Since Rosie Douglas was the Prime Minister died, I ran the Portsmouth seat in 2000, and I have been in Parliament for 17 years. And the first person I know, first member of Parliament, not even minister yet, first member of Parliament I know that say he's not coming to the House of Assembly for the budget debate until he knows what is in the budget for his people. I tell you, this is a serious guy. I would never try something like that, ladies and gentlemen. And he is committed to representing his people. And I want you to put your hands together, for the young professionals that you see before you here today. When I sat there and I look at people like Honourable Blanchard, I was at the University of the West Indies with Honourable Blanchard way back in 1992-93. I think she was doing something like maybe economics when I was doing law. And these people have no axe to grind. These people are not involved in politics. They're not a politician like me. You understand me? Miriam could be anywhere in the world working for CDB, ECCB, IMF, anybody like Honorable Dennis Charles. These people are brilliant young people. Honorable Kenneth Darroux is doing a PhD. He's speaking how many languages? He's studying China. You understand me? And for these young people, Dr. Darroux could have been opening an office now, a medical doctor, and making his money, and they're sacrificing their lives. This is serious, This is serious. I mean, a old Vienna like me are in politics a long time. Everybody know. Since Mike and Rosie days and Pierrot and Urban Baron days, I struggled in the vineyard of the Labour Party. So I am a politician. But these young professionals, these bright, young, promising people who could be somewhere else. Dennis Charles running Petrocarib. These people went to university and they have their degrees. And they have sacrificed their lives in the service of their fellow men. I want today to recognize that kind of sacrifice. And I want us to put our hands together. Because let me tell you, the quality of representation we are getting right now in this country. And I tell you, I've been in politics all my life. The first platform I spoke on, I was 11 years of age. In 1980, when Labour Party was split, it had Labour Party under OJ, we had Demlab under, Labour Party under PJ, Demlab under OJ and Mike, my father, and then Rosie and Pierrot, and them had Alliance, the Hammer, Ron Green and these guys. So I have been in it for a long time. So I know what I'm talking about. And I tell you, the quality of representation we are getting right now is the testament to the quality of leadership that we have right now. And give Roosevelt Skerrit his kudos for that kind of leadership. I share Didaibla. This is the best leader that Dominica has ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. And so that is why we are moving around the country, because Roosevelt Skerrit, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, the Honourable Prime Minister of Dominica, recognizes that we have to interact, we have to report to you. You are the ones who own the government, You are the shareholders of this company. We have to report to you. Never again must politicians come to you when election time come to ask you for your vote. And after 5 years, you never see them again. That is why we are here today. And a very important aspect of this town hall meeting is the second part of the town hall meeting, when you will get to ask Dr. Darroux and the ministers any question that you have in your mind about your development. We are here to report to you. So we're not coming here every 5 years to ask you to vote for us. And when you vote for us, when you give us your vote, you give us your commitment, you give us your support, you do not see us again. The Honourable Prime Minister has said that we must be accountable to the people. And that is why we are here, brothers and sisters. So I want to tell you that the country is in good hands. Now, the PAL rep have reported to you what he is doing. A very senior member of government, the Minister for Infrastructure, Ports and Public Works, have reported to you. So I'm not going to be here as a minister talking to you. I'm a politician today. Let us talk some politics, ladies and gentlemen. That is why I'm here today. That is why I'm here. And I want to tell you that after Hurricane David, and maybe even arguably, Tropical Storm Erica was in a lot of respects worse than Hurricane David. The kind of damage that was wreaked on this country. And while I am saying that, I must pause for a moment to recognize the stoic work of Dr. Darroux throughout this tragedy, brothers and sisters. When I saw Dr. Darroux went up to his constituency, went up to the damaged areas in Petite Savanne, in the height of the devastation, he was there for his people. That is what true representation is all about. But what the point I want to make is, Tropical Storm Erica wreaked 1.4 billion, $1.3 billion worth of damage on the country, brothers and sisters. Devastated and wiped out some communities. And everyone thought that we would have been on our knees, brothers and sisters. The Prime Minister, in his usual characteristic magnanimous way, called for national unity. He put aside all of the politics and he asked the opposition and the government, all members of parliament, to come and sit down. Let us work together to rebuild Dominica, to recover from one of the worst devastations that we have had in our history. Lives were lost. Villages were wiped out. I mean, in America today, Louisiana, which was about 10 years ago, the flooding in Louisiana took 2 presidents. Obama is out of office, and now we have Trump in office. And they are still dealing with the devastation caused by the tropical storm in Louisiana, brothers and sisters. Haiti, Katrina. Haiti, the earthquake in Haiti, people are still living in tents in Haiti, brothers and sisters. You understand what I'm telling you? This is serious business. And today, Jubic people are in their homes, comfortable in Grand Bay in Center, brothers and sisters. Less than 2 years after Tropical Storm Erica, the people of Jubic are comfortably housed. In fact, people who didn't have house now have houses in Center, brothers and sisters. When I passed Bellevue Chopin, and I looked and I saw what is happening in Bellevue Chopin today, is that a government you can have any questions about, brothers and sisters? This is a government that's working in the interests of its people. And I can tell you that I'm sure that before the end of the year, the first set of people from Petite Savanne will be housed at Bellevue Chopin. We are focused. We're not being sidelined. We're not being sidetracked. We're not being distracted. We are focused because we realize and we recognize that the only purpose for us being in government is to serve you, the people of Dominica. That is our only priority, brothers and sisters, to serve you, the people of Dominica. And that is what we have been doing. Unless you forget, don't forget. A lot of people, even children who were born in 1999, right now will be voting next year. They can register next year because they're 18 years. Okay? So they were young and they were babies. So they may not remember 2000 or between 1995 and 2000, what happened in this country. There were times when the government could not pay public servants in 1995. In 1999, persons from the private sector, businessmen in Dominica, had to borrow the government money to pay public servants at the end of the month. Some of you all can remember, some of you all who are public servants, you can remember, when you would get your salary on the 15th of the other month, brothers and sisters. And they would come and tell us, computer breakdown. That's what they would tell us. Don't forget, when we were in our trespasses, brothers and sisters, now we know what thy kingdom come. Don't forget your trespasses. Don't forget where we were, brothers and sisters. And so we took this country, we literally took this country on the brink of collapse. On the brink of collapse. Every single international and regional institution was being owed by the government. The National Bank almost kool-aid under United Workers' Party. Social Security, that if you're working for somebody, they have to pay your social security for you. If you're working for a private person, you get a little job, Dr. Darroux doing a road, a little contractor give you a job on the road, he have to pay your social security. You're working for government have to pay your social security. Wherever you work in self-employed or you employed by the government, your social security have to be paid. United Workers Party was owing social security millions of dollars because they couldn't pay. There were millions of dollars of unpaid checks in the treasury of Dominica that couldn't be issued because if those checks were issued, they would bounce. That is where we were coming from. And we took this country and we had to ask you. We came to you and we told you plain things are tight. We lost 2 prime ministers. Pressure and stress give them heart attack. Rosie died 8 months after we took office. Piero died 3 years from a heart attack trying to grapple with the problems of the country, brothers and sisters. Don't forget, I go back in history because I want you now to appreciate where we are today and the sacrifices that you had to make. We came to you and we asked you to take a 5% levy on your salary, take a 5% cut on your salary, just to bring the country back on track. And when we talk about the citizenship by investment program, brothers and sisters, it is not Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, Honorable Prime Minister, that get up in his bed one Friday morning and decide he going into citizenship by investment program, you know. We met the program there when we came, you know. In 1993, when bananas couldn't fetch money anymore, banana farmers were leaving their farms and buying buses to go and do taxi and do tourism. The great Eugenia Charles, Mamo at the time, was in office. And she sat down and she decided that she had to do something to bring in some revenue into the country. And she decided if there were multi-millionaires and billionaires and people of high net worth outside of Dominica who was willing to come and invest in the country, she would grant them citizenship as a result. But brothers and sisters, but you know, we have Haitian and Spanish coming every day. They just married a Dominican and in 2 weeks they get citizenship and they get a passport. Yeah. So why we want to deprive a man who is coming here to invest $100,000, $200,000 into our economy? So it is not us who started the program. And when Eugenia Charles started the program in 1993, United Workers Party was just formed. They were just formed. And I can tell you, there was a pastor in Portsmouth, a Pentecostal pastor, who had a crusade, who said, Pastor York, thank you, Peter Seja, before they were formed, who prophesied and said that a bunch of greedy businessmen would come together, they would put their monies together, and they would form a political party. They would win the elections, but then they would lose it soon after, and they would never form the government in the country again. Okay? So they were in opposition, and they criticized Mamo in 1988 for implementing the citizenship, the economic citizenship program, as it was called at the time. And no sooner they came to power, they endorsed the same program, and they called it the re-engineered economic citizenship program. So it's not now these guys are dishonest. When we see today, we see that, you know, United Workers Party and Lennox Clinton criticized government for that program. And now that Sam Raphael have taken away them, put their secret outside, they receive $4 million. Kwedi, brothers and sisters. Kwedi. You know when you go in a shop, and you tell the shopkeeper, it's your cross week. It's your cross week. So advance. So kwedi you 2 pounds of bakanek, 2 pounds of flour, and a pound of lentils is your cross week. And you will pay at the end of the month. Trust me. That's what happened there, brother. On trust. You understand? These guys have been criticizing Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit and the Dominica Labour Party all the time, not knowing that they were the ones, brothers and sisters, who gave out our diplomatic appointments on Kwedi in the hope that when they came to office, they would have issued the same diplomatic appointments that they criticize in this government about. That is the height of hypocrisy, brothers and sisters. That is the height of it. And Sam Raphael was no labor, right? Sam Raphael was no friend of the government. We know Sam Raphael ran against Dr. Darroux right here in the Petite Savanne Constituency. So it's not to say they can say Sam lying. For years, they criticizing Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit. They say he have this there, he have that there, he have that there. All how we tell them come with the evidence. They went to the IPO, the Integrity in Public Office Commission, making allegations that they cannot substantiate. They had no proof, no evidence, but they criticizing Dr. Skerrit. We said nothing. No, brothers and sisters, no. We have an eyewitness. It's like somebody see you going and thief in a person's house. They see when you jump the window. They see when you come back outside with the bag carrying on your back. They see when you go at your home. Tomorrow morning, police come now. The person said they see you. Huh? A participating witness. The man said he was there. It's he that received the money and he shared it out. Brothers and sisters, what evidence you asking for again right now? But that is the character of the leadership of the United Workers' Party. And that party never changed. Brothers and sisters, a leopard never changes its spots. They were formed like that. When they were formed in 1988, they were formed on greed. Edison James was the chairman of the Dominica Banana Marketing Association at the time, manager, and he asked the Prime Minister Eugenia Charles to increase his salary. And Mamo said no, because he himself was already getting, his salary was higher than the Prime Minister's salary. And that is how that party was formed. Don't forget there was a guy called Gonzalez, the Oreo cookie guy. They lie and say that Mamo bugged their office. When they had the commission of inquiry, it was proven that these guys were lying, brothers and sisters. And we see that same characteristic continue today. Edison James handpicked Lennox Linton to run the party. There were other persons in the party. There was a guy from Maho who could have run the party. There was Earl Williams. I don't know, he come out of the woodwork now, like a Formy Woosh. Now I hear in Earl until I was shocked. I couldn't understand. After Earl had to run away from Dominica before police arrest him for people money. Now he cannot come back to Dominica. Now I am Earl defending United Workers' Party, brothers and sisters. Now I have to go through all of that for you to see exactly what is at stake. What is at stake, brothers and sisters? When we are electing men and women to run the affairs of our country, this is our future we're dealing with. This is about the future of our children. This is about the ability, brothers and sisters, to raise your standard of living. That is why we are doing all of these town hall meetings, brothers and sisters. That is why we are coming to talk to you. And you may not remember when these guys was in power, they gave a passport to a fugitive from Australia called Christopher Skays that the Australian government wanted. And now they want to criticize. There was another guy called Al-Masari, brothers and sisters, that the international community and Interpol wanted. You see? So they did all what they had to do. And because they live by this word, brothers and sisters, they want to attach the same kind of thing to the government now. But we are not deterred. We will remain focused because we have a job to do for you and the people of Dominica. So there is no difference between the United Workers' Party then and the United Workers' Party now. Membet, Mempuel. It is the same United Workers' Party that's there, brothers and sisters. I mean, I listen with sadness, but joy to hear the Honorable Prime Minister talking about an international airport now for us. That we are going to build the international airport. And we will start the international airport before 2020, brothers and sisters. We will start it. Because we have the connections, we have the respect, we have the know-how, we have the initial funding because of the citizenship by investment to start the program. But I don't want you to forget that we could have had that international airport since 1989. We could have had that international airport. But when, you remember Eugenia Charles Bamo again, I'm sorry for going to that history, but I have to make you understand. Let us put our hands together for the Honorable Prime Minister. And you see, when I tell you about commitment, when the man could be at his home, he have a young family, his children are infants and stuff, he is here with us, brothers and sisters. Despite all of what he has to do with us, he makes time to be here with the people. That is the kind of leader that we need in the country today, brothers and sisters. Not the kind of leader that wrote to the Americans in 1990 telling them, don't come to build the international airport because that will interfere with the elections in 1990. That is them, guys. And again, when we had Commander Hugo Chavez helping us when Venezuela had some resources and they were helping us, they wrote to the Venezuelans telling them, don't help Dominica, come and investigate what we are doing with their money. Monies that we are taking to help you, to build up the infrastructure, to raise our standard of living in Dominica. So that is all what these guys are all about. They are about stalling your development. They are about stymieing your progress, brothers and sisters. And we have to know that, and we have to stand up against that. Look at what we are doing right now. We are the most successful country as far as the citizenship by investment program in the Eastern Caribbean is concerned. And we are not the only ones who have a program. St. Kitts has a program. Antigua have a program. Dominican Republic has a citizenship program. In fact, the great United States of America has a citizenship program, called EB5. Canada have a program. Malta has a program, brothers and sisters. But we are just the best at what we do because we have the best leader available in the Caribbean. That is all. That is all. So what you want to tell me? What United Workers' Party, we must ask them. What they want to do? Take away the $300 that the people 70 and over is getting now today? Huh? People who work hard in our communities. In Bagatelle, we know people who was baking bread. People who are truck driving students to school, Bedford truck. People who will go and fish with their little boat and their canoe to come back. So because they have not paid Social Security, they're not entitled to a little standard of living, to pay their little mapping, to buy their little groceries, to pay their lights at the end of the month. And the Prime Minister come up with a program to give them 300 EC a month. And United Workers' Party is against that, brothers and sisters. Who could be against a program like that, brothers and sisters? In this day and age, when we're trying to take away pit latrine, so people, our elderly people, do not have to go outside. At 2 o'clock in the morning, you have a little malvat. Go outside in darkness, rain falling, cockroach running about, penis and santapi in your pit latrine. And the Prime Minister in his wisdom say he wants his people to live out their life in dignity. I mean, think about it. Huh? And he want to attach a little concrete washroom with your tiles and your things so you can sit down in dignity and relieve yourself. And United Workers' Party is against that, brothers and sisters. Tell me, brothers and sisters. Huh? The housing revolution. People who have built their houses, public servants who built their houses maybe in the 70s or in the 80s have a mortgage of $150,000, $200,000 when they could pay a mortgage. Now they reach retirement age, their children have to go to school, but they finish pay their mortgage, but the house over time have deteriorated and want a little repair. You cannot come to your pal rep and ask for 2 galvanized and a plywood and some nails to repair your house, brothers and sisters. That is what Lennox, Linton, Edison, James, and the United Workers' Party is against. That is the crux of the matter, you know. This is what we have to examine. This is what it's all about, brothers and sisters. Huh? That is what you have to ask yourself, and that is what we are doing for you. And we have the Citizenship by Investment program right now that is bringing in that resources. And the Prime Minister have decided to put that resources back into the people of Dominica. The NEP, National Employment Program, almost 2,000 people around Dominica now are on that program in beautification. You can see it in Bagatelle, planting the flowers, cutting the grass. Yes, we care. People taking care of our elderly, going at their home, cooking a little warm meal for them, combing their hair because they have family in England and in the States that forget about them. And they are bedridden now. And now they're getting a little salary so they can pay their little lights, they can feed their children. That is what United Workers' Party is against, brothers and sisters. That is what we have to think about. If this government were to lose power tomorrow morning, God forbid, that is what we would lose. Because they do not have the contacts, they do not have the respect, they do not have the recognition that Dr. Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit have. This is the most experienced leader in CARICOM today. People twice his age are calling him. People who are 60 and 70 years calling him, comrade, how you navigating that? Comrade, how did you do this? How did you do that? What, you give me some advice here? I have a particular challenge here. I have a problem, I have an issue here. This is the kind of respect that we have today in Dominica. When United Workers' Party left office, brothers and sisters, we were at the bottom of the barrel as far as OECS and CARICOM was concerned. Today, we are the most respected country in the Eastern Caribbean. So, what Sam Raphael say about them is something we know already. We shouldn't be surprised. We shouldn't be surprised. We know that these guys are a bunch of dishonest guys. And Sam Raphael don't have no axe to grind. Sam wasn't to say he's a Labour right, to say, well, he's supporting the Labour Party. Sam is an honest individual who's saying that he was right there when that happened. He was right there when money passed. He received the money, brothers and sisters. So now, they must come and tell us, what did they do with the money? Who they give scholarships? Not one person. Not even in Marigot or Salisbury. Which house they fix? Not one galvanized was nailed, brothers and sisters. Who did they help to give a job? Not one person. So that is what we have to consider. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you that this government is on the right track. We're on the right track. And we are here before the budget, weeks before the budget, to get from you what else you would like to see us implement for your benefit, for your development, for your children's future. That is why we're here. No government before, and remember I told you when I started that I am in this thing since 1980. Right? No government before in the history of Dominica have come to the people like we are doing to you today. You can give Dr. Darroux all the blows you want. You can tell him what you want. The Prime Minister said, don't give him too much blows for him to feel so bad. But let us know what it is you require of us. And we are ready, willing, and able to produce to you what you need for your future development. Once again, brothers and sisters, I want to thank you very much for coming out in your numbers. It shows your support for your PAREP. It shows your endorsement for the government. And because of that, we will continue to be focused, energized, and dedicated to serve your needs into the near future. I thank you very much, and God bless you.
Let's hear it again for the Honourable Ian Douglas. And if myself and Minister Blanchard you had fallen asleep, I'm sure you woke up when Honourable Douglas started. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the presence of the Honourable Prime Minister, who promised that he was going to be here this afternoon. Here he is. And now is the moment that he's going to address us. So let's put our hands together for our visionary Prime Minister. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry for being late. I actually spent the weekend in my village, and my two small kids did not want to leave. They were enjoying Vegas and they did not want to leave. So I left Vegas later than I wanted to. And then when I got home in town, my son started crying because he wants to go back to Vegas and so on. You know. But I am very happy to be here in Bagatelle. I know Bagatelle very well. Very warm, hospitable people. And I always feel at home when I'm in Bagatelle or Fab or Fonseca. And as you know, my wife's family is from Fonseca. And I've met many of our relatives. They wanted to come, but because of a long drive from Vegas, they couldn't be here for me this afternoon. But I want to recognize in a very special way my friend and colleague, your PAL rep, who is the Minister for Health, Honourable Dr. Darroux, Honourable Ian Douglas, the Minister for Trade and Employment, Honourable Blanchard, who is the Minister for Public Works. We have Honourable Peter Saint-Jean, our Minister for Education, Honourable Cassius Darroux, our Minister for Colonial Affairs, Honourable Dennis Charles, who is the PAL rep for Point Michel, Soufrière, Scott said, Galia. My friend, Miss Benjamin, and also Mr. Nichols Shanks Esprit, and all of you, the wonderful people of these communities, Bagatelle, Fab, Fonseca, and all of the smaller hamlets within Bagatelle, Pontcarib, and Stowe. You know, when you come to these communities, you have to be very careful, because if you name one and you don't name the other, you see what I'm saying? You have to make sure you capture all of them. But I'm very happy to be here. And in driving down from Vegas into town and then into Bagatelle, I followed all of the speeches and all of the comments made by my colleagues. I want to say to you that you never know what it is to be a PAL rep until you are one. No matter how close you are to a PAL rep, you'll never know the extent of the responsibility unless you're one. You know the old saying, it is those in the kitchen who feels the heat. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes husbands may tell their wives, well, you're at home doing nothing all day. But when you leave them for one day, they cannot survive. When you have children to take care of, you have to cook, you have to wash, you have to iron, you have to clean the house. Huh? But the moment you live for one day, the husband's hands are tied, he cannot do anything. Some of them can't cook water, boil water, or they can't boil an egg. You know? Mais you can't do pas faire pour journée là. So you never know how it is, and it is a responsibility like none other. Most jobs, when 4 o'clock comes, you finish work, you're done. With a PAL rep, it is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And sometimes the days, you need more hours in the day to really perform the task at the level that you wish to. And then you add a minister with that. You have a huge responsibility as a minister. And then for people like Dr. Darroux and myself, you add little children with that. You know? And you understand the great responsibility. But it's a huge responsibility. But it is a responsibility which we take very seriously, because I always say to people, and I always remind people, that when you look at the Dominica Labour Party, every one of us who made ourselves available to the people, we were not looking for a job. We left a job to come to represent the people. Every one of us. And in some cases, we made more at our previous job than our current job. I take, for example, this fellow is not very tall, so I'm sure you can see him at the back. Shanks Esprit, who left his job and he was getting more money at Doasco than he's currently getting in his present job. You know? This young man there, Cassius Darroux, was studying in China for his PhD. And when I called him, all the way in China, he did not think twice of coming back home. He said, Chief, if you want me, and if people want me, I will come back immediately. And he did that. When I spoke with Peter Saint-Jean at his home in La Plaine, it was only one discussion we had. He and I went out down, two of us sat down, and only one discussion. And he left his position. Rosalind Paul left her job in the public service. When I spoke to Dr. Darroux one time, I didn't have to talk to him twice, only once. He left his comfortable public service job as a medical doctor, and he agreed to serve. And the list goes on and on of all of us who've made certain sacrifices to be here. But we have no regrets, because for us, it is a vocation of service to the people of Dominica and the respective constituencies. For me, I love people. I love working with people. I love interacting with people. And to the best of my efforts and my abilities, we try to make life better for as many people as possible with the resources that we have. Because I believe, and this is not from a political standpoint, I believe from a biblical standpoint, we have a responsibility to each other. The Bible says we have to be our neighbor's keeper. It's not to veil our neighbor that, it's our neighbor's keeper, to be there for our neighbor. And those of us who are Catholics, they are corporal works of mercy. And what are the corporal works of mercy? Feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, bury the dead, clothe the naked, visit the sick. So, as Catholics, we have to be very careful when we criticize the government for helping the poor and giving the homeless a house. And the Bible, that came straight from the Bible, They simply paraphrased it. Because the Bible tells us that we have to provide for the poor. There's a little boy who had, was it 2 loaves and 5 fishes? 5 fishes and 2 loaves? Oh, I always mix them up, And then the disciple says, there's nothing to give them, Master. There's no food. But Jesus taught the disciples that with the little that you have, you can feed people. And through that, you get blessings. And that's what, for me, that's what guides me in my responsibilities as Prime Minister. That there will be people in our country, among us, if we do not look out for them, they will not have an opportunity to live a decent life. And that's how we go about it. And we bring about policy decisions which will help improve the lives of people based on our interaction with you. We listen to you, we hear you, and based on your concerns that you raise with us, we create policies and programs to respond to you, the people of Dominica. The allowance which we give to people 70 and over came about because every village I went to, people were telling me how hard they work on the roads, building the roads. They were pointing to me the health centers and the schools and the police stations which they helped build. They were telling me about the macadam, that the stones that to break and put the macadam one by one on these roads across Dominica. They were telling me of using pickaxes to build roads in Dominica. And they're saying to me, Scared, Makatapi here. And some of them would go in their bedrooms and take out their little plastic bags and show me their Provident Fund card and their Social Security card. And they're getting not $1 to buy a bread when the bus is passing. And we were able to create the allowance for people 70 and over, and we started with $200. And as things get a little better for the government, we increased it to $300. And thousands of senior citizens across Dominica are receiving that allowance. And now they can go to the shop next door and say, give me a tin of Vienna sausage. Give me a quarter pound onion. Give me a gill of oil. I will pay you when I get my little something from the government when the month comes. That's what it is. And I have said before publicly how the free medical care came about. I was in the Kalego territory visiting people. And I met many sick people who were very, very ill. Older people, elderly. And I'm saying to the children, why isn't your grandmother at your hospital? And they were telling me, and they go to their rooms and they come back with these yellow forms. It's a yellow form we give them at the hospital to say that they're owing. And I say, Prime Minister, we're owing this at the hospital. And they're faithful to go back to the hospital because they don't want anybody to shame them at the hospital because they're owing. And in some cases, the hospital would even deny you to come to the hospital if you're owing them. And how could we, as a society, not look after these people who cannot afford to provide for themselves? So we created the policy for free medical care first. We started first with the Kalinago people, 60 and older and 18 and younger. And then we pass it on to the rest of the country. And in countries that are richer than us, bigger than us, if you do not have an insurance card, you will not get medical assistance. I hear people criticizing, for example, the public support program. And my friend, I am saying to you, whether you support the government or not, if you do not have something good to say about something that's helping somebody else, say nothing about it. Because at the end of the day, each of us will have to go to our master to answer. And it's not what you have done for yourself, he'll ask you, what have you done for the least of my brothers and sisters? But life is strange. I treat people the way I would like people to treat me. That's what I go about. Because I may be the prime minister today, but I never know what the future holds. And I may very well one day need the allowance that people get 70 and older. You never know. You walk in today, you're healthy, and bam, you fall sick, bam, you die. So we must always treat people the way we would like to treat them. And I treat people with respect, and I try to help. We try to help as many as we can, so that when my children are growing up in the community, somebody will say to them, I remember your father helped me very well, and I will help you too. You understand? So this is how we go about life, and this is how we have to go about life, my dear brothers and sisters. But before I go on, I would like to make some commitments to the people of these communities, Bagatelle, Fab, and Stone, Point Carib. Dr. Darroux will make a commitment, and immediately after the passage of the budget, I want these funds transferred to the Village Council and to the Fisheries Corporation. For the fishermen, we're making a commitment of $250,000 for you. And for the small business, to get things going, we're committing $250,000 for the small businesses in this community. So that's $500,000 for small businesses in the communities. We have a list of people who require houses. And when Dr. Darroux and I looked at the estimates and the assessment of your homes, it is clear that we cannot fix some of those homes. We have to build new homes for you. Okay? But we have to start at some point. So we are committing today for the construction of new homes, 20 new homes in these communities for needy families, people who need these homes. And this will be 2- and 3-bedroom homes for those of you who require homes. So we will start with that, and as time goes by, we will continue to address the complete housing situation in Bagatelle, Fonseja, Stowe, Point Carib, and so forth. And of course, we will make a commitment for the repairs of some of the homes which require repairs and so on, and that will be done through the Ministry of Housing, utilizing the services and the cooperation of the Village Council. And I know we have made available $870,000 for washrooms in these communities. 75 washrooms were approved, you know, and my understanding that we are constructing them as we go along, and quite a few have been built, and people are very pleased about it. But I want us to appreciate these things, because we must not take things for granted. You know, we mustn't take things for granted. Because I mean, I heard Dr. Darroux and of course Honourable Ian Douglas saying that these things were not happening before. You know? Government wasn't building houses for people or providing small business support for people. Government thought that the responsibilities were roads and this and that and anything else. No. But we come from a different perspective of life. But these things cost money. Because $500,000 could do many roads in this constituency. There are many other things that we could do with $500,000. But we recognize that there are many of you involved in fishing, and you need the new outboard motor. You need to fix your fiberglass boat. You need to buy the safety equipment. Some of you are involved in small businesses. You need the extra $5,000 to boost your shop up. You're doing sewing, you need to buy a new machine and a surge protector. You need $7,500 for that. But you can't buy it now. You're employing people. Because what we want to do is to get as many people as possible to remain in their communities, create jobs for themselves, use the raw material in the communities, and look at Dominica as your marketplace. Not only Bagatelle and these little communities, but the whole of Dominica as your marketplace, and create a better way of life for yourself and for your family. I want to say to you, my dear brothers and sisters, that we need to ensure that our children take advantage of the opportunities. Today, we have many opportunities which we never had as parents growing up. And now our children have those opportunities. We as parents must ensure that they take advantage of it. And I do not want any child from this part of the country, or Dominica as a whole, to be at home because the parents cannot afford the bus fare or cannot afford the books. We, in the government, will provide these things for our children to take advantage of it. But we must not wait at home and hoping that somebody will come and knock our door and tell us, look a form. We have to reach out. We have to go out and get those forms and fill the forms and get it back and ensure that we get the help for our children. I know my friends across the river, the Seine, have been waiting for this crossing. And I'm happy that we have been able to, this is going to cost us about $169,000 to build. So it is not just putting this and putting that and do this. It's $169,000 to build a crossing so that your shoes don't get wet when you're walking across. But I think on this call, I'm going to come back to this hamlet, myself and along with Dr. Darroux, to speak to you about the future. You understand? About the future. Because I believe, it is my view, that we have to look at your long-term safety. You know, I know that we've lived there all our lives, and that's where our grandmother was, and our great-grandmother, and that's where we were raised and so forth. But we have to think about the future, about these communities, and whether, in the long run, whether these places are safe. But I'll come back to you, and we'll have a chat among ourselves on this issue. You will hear people talk about Dominica and criticize Dominica in a negative way. And we don't mind criticism. Criticisms are important, but they have to be criticisms that are geared to making things better, not to destroy. Because if we destroy our country, which other country do we have? And for the vast majority of us in Dominica, this is the only place we'll ever be able to call home. So what we do to Dominica will redound to either our benefit, if it's coming good, or to our own personal destruction if it's something bad. And therefore, we must always think positively about our country. Because if we think Dominica has challenges and with this and with that, then I say to people, take a plane and go to any other country in the world, anyone. And you'll understand that these countries have even greater problems than us. Because the world is still very difficult. The world has not recovered from the crisis, the financial crisis, which started in 2008. It is still difficult. Governments are finding it difficult to be able to raise money to do what it requires for its citizens. It's difficult. And here in Dominica, notwithstanding the humongous challenge, the huge challenge which we are faced with, brought on us by Erica, this government, thank God, has not stopped one program in this country. Not one program have to stop. Because we could have come here and said to you, the roads that we're constructing, the washrooms we're constructing, the 20 homes that we will build for these families, we could have said to you that we can't afford it. And I'm sure most of us will understand that the government has to build over 350 homes for the residents of Petite Savanne. That we have to build several bridges, washed away by Erica, roadways. We have to build retaining walls costing us millions, tens of millions of dollars. Just to fix the Douglas Childs Airport, it has cost us over $60 million. Just to fix the airport. Not to build the airport, fix it. And you can imagine what $60 million could have done for us in Dominica. But no, the Lord has been good to us, and we have been passing on these benefits to the people of Dominica to seek to make life better for all of us in the process. Because for us, we would like to see poverty eradicated completely in Dominica. And whenever we come to Bagatelle and we go to any part of Dominica to meet with people, it is first and foremost to hear from you, the residents of these communities, but importantly for us to tell you what we're doing for you, what we're doing with you, and what else can we do together to make life better for you, your families, and these communities. Other people will come to Bagatelle to preach negativism, to come and mobilize one or two people here to come and throw stones in Roseau, to burn people's places in Roseau. That's not what the Labour Party is about. We are a party of progress, we are a party of respect, and we are a party of about making life better for Dominicans. And that's what it is. That's what it is. But it is not an easy task. It is not an easy task at all. We sometimes, when people take it for granted because we're making it look like it's easy. But it's not easy at all. Because Dominica, as you know, is not an easy place to develop. Not an easy place to develop. And we're prepared to engage everybody in Dominica who is serious about building Dominica. We're prepared to work with you. So you would hear Sam Raphael say, for example, and Sam Raphael ran against us here in Petite Savanne. But when Erica struck Dominica and his hotel was affected, I, as Prime Minister, reached out to him and said, look, let us rebuild Jungle Bay. Because I know of the benefits of Jungle Bay to Dominica, the number of jobs it created. There's a gentleman overseas who wanted to write to me and make a suggestion to me, and he was afraid to write, or people tell him don't write. And he has some ideas about the music industry and so forth. He wrote to me and I responded to him. I said, sure, send me the proposal. Send me the proposal. Let us look at it. Let us see whether it will benefit Dominica. And if it will benefit Dominica, let us go with it. That's what it is. Because we recognize always that all of the ideas to build Dominica do not reside in the Labour Party. They're the people with different views, and we have to engage them. But on the other side, from the moment you raise a finger in condemnation of them, they attack you and your family. I have been in active politics for 17 years. And I've never gone to attack an opponent's family, never brought their children into politics. For us in the Labour Party, that's a no-no. Stay away from that. And I've seen where these guys are saying that they should kidnap my chilldren. They posted my son's picture on Facebook and all over the internet and so forth. You know, where is the decency? What does a 3-year-old have to do with politics? What does a 1-year-old have to do with politics? Because these people are not about representing people. It's about coming to government to look for a job, and whatever has to be done to get there, they're prepared to do it. But we will not be tempted to behave in like manner. You will never hear me bringing in any parliamentarians' children into politics in a negative way. If you have to mention the name, it is something positive and constructive I will have to say about these people. But we're going on, and this year we will be having the budget on 27th of July. 27th of July will be the budget day in Dominica. And I can tell you I am very excited about this year's budget, because it will be addressing a number of critical issues. We met with many stakeholders, many stakeholders. And we're committing in the budget some $15 million for the manufacturers. $15 million for the manufacturers. Last year we gave the hoteliers $15 million. We gave the farmers $10 million. This year we put in $15 million for the manufacturers. We'll also be putting additional money for small business development, entrepreneurship, to build a culture of entrepreneurship in Dominica. We'll also be putting an additional amount for training, and we'll be targeting a number of areas in our country. And for me, one of the areas that will be critical to the country is the training of teachers and parents in how to provide for the children with special needs in Dominica. So we'll be, because there are many children in Dominica who have special needs and who are not at school because the schools are not catering for them. And parents have to stay home to take care of the children because they cannot go to school. And I think in the second decade of the 21st century, we have to come of age in respect to how we treat and regard children with disabilities in our country. So we'll be working on this, and this for me will be one of the highlights of the budget. Because the budget, yes, we can talk about roads and bridges, but we must also focus on the human aspect of development in our country, and there'll be a focus on that in this year's budget. So my friends, I really want you to be here with you this afternoon. So I made the effort to be here, but very importantly, I would like to hear from you. But before I leave, I want to place on public record again, as I've done on a number of occasions, the commitment and dedication of your power rep, Dr. Darroux. And I have seen as the party leader, I have seen as the Prime Minister, the political development of Dr. Darroux. And every year, I believe he gets better in his efforts at representing the people of his constituency. And what is good too, and I heard him say this evening, that where he falls short, he accepts. And it's human nature. It's human nature. If you feel that you're falling short, hey, master, I fall short, sorry, let us work together to improve it. And that's what it's supposed to be, because he's not a machine. He's a human being. And all of us fall short from time to time in our own responsibilities. But notwithstanding that, we're still seeing things happening. So he may not be physically present sometimes, but you're seeing things happening in these communities. But we take note of the fact that you want to see us more often. That's what the town hall meetings are about. You'll see us more often so you can interact with us and share with us your concerns, your fears, your aspirations, your dreams, and how we can work together to allay the fears and work together to the realization of your dreams. But I want to thank you. Thank you very much, the residents of these communities, because we could, notwithstanding the challenges, we know we can always rely on you. We can always rely on you for your support and for your prayers. And for this, we are very, very grateful to you. And let us get this 20 houses started. Let's not delay. We have the designs, we have the plans. Let us engage the residents. I would like to see these houses start in August, right after we pass the budget. So identify the contractors so we can start building these homes, so we can get another phase of new homes in this place. So when I come here for Christmas, I want to be in new homes in Christmas. New homes. So I'm saying to the contractors, and all the contractors will come from these communities. All the contractors will come from these communities. Do the work with pride. Do not waste time on the project. Don't play big voucher in the contract and walk in the contract all over Rosa when you have work to do in Bagatelle. You understand? Do the work with pride for the senior citizens so they can bless you. You understand? Do not do a bad job for them and you know it's a bad job. Put enough cement in the foundation so it can bind. Don't use old tarish when it's supposed to be aggregate and sand. Do not take an old toilet bowl, old sink you get from an old project somewhere and bring here. I do not want any brogodo in those new houses. We want new things in these new houses. So, I give you the assurances that when we are signing these contracts, for these homes, if I'm in the country, I will come back here to be at the ceremony so I can speak directly to the contractors. Because sometimes some contractors don't do the job properly. And you know sometimes they think the older people can't see light too well, so they can't see. But even if you can't see light, you can sense something's wrong. You know, so let us do it properly. Let us work with the beneficiaries, you know. Do it as if you do it for yourself. So that when somebody go to the house, let them ask, who is the contractor build that for you? And they'll tell you that person does a good job. So that's your bon job. Okay? So I'm not here as Prime Minister, I'm talking to you as family here, you know. So we're talking as friends and family. So I'm advising you, let us do it properly. Because the government will make the monies available, but the contractors will build it. Understand? Because at the end of the day, when the work is done bad, they blame Dr. Darroux and myself. You understand? They blame us. But our responsibility is to fetch the money, make it available, but it is left to you, the residents, to do it properly. Likewise, the roads. I like to see the roads that you have done to FAB. You know, I came to FAB some time ago and we do look at something. I looked at, let us do that whole road and finish it out. And this piece here and piece over there and so on. You know, let us do this road, and I'm happy with the quality of work that the contractors have done. Because I come to these communities when you don't know to see how things go in. So don't believe that the only time you see me in there is when you see two black vehicles and scare them. No. So I'll be watching the contractors, you know. And I want to thank my friends in Stowe for the work they did on the NAP. Very, very good job. Point Carib. You know, because when the ladies met me, did I miscarry it? Dr. Darroux, let us do that job. And I can tell you, those ladies working even better than the men too. Let me tell you something. I see one of my friends there. Look at my friends there right there. You see? She's good for herself, you know, let me tell you something. You know? So let us do the job properly, because whatever we do here is for your benefit. My home is right up in Vegas. You understand? But the roads are for you. The new homes are for you. The washrooms are for you. The small business support are for you, the people of these communities. We're just instruments bringing the help to you. All of the benefits are yours. So let us work together, because everybody here is related. For somebody to get a girlfriend here in Bagatelle, you have to go somewhere in Penville or somewhere in Portsmouth. You can't marry people inside because everybody is related. You see what I'm saying? So it's one big family from Stowe, Point Carib, all the way to Fab, Bagatelle, and so on. It's one family there. So let us do it. So when we get a contract, let us understand you're doing it for your first cousin or for your second cousin, or your grand auntie, or your grandmother by your father's side, and so forth. So you're doing it for yourself. So let's do a nice job, build the houses properly, so that the senior citizens and the beneficiaries can be comfortable in the house. Don't go and do this stuff and before the house finishes that leaking. Understand? Let us do it properly. My friends, thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Let's hear it again, please, for the Honorable Prime Minister. And PM, even before you came, I would have made special, during my remarks, I would have thanked you for the attention that you've been given this part of the country, especially in recent times. And I asked people to take note, especially those of us out there who like to be out there, not present on the ground on social media, to add up, tally up the amounts of money that we have spent so far in the Bagatelle Forces area. And as a member of parliament, I must let you know that I'm in a very, very good place right now in terms of the attention, projects, and programs that's happening in the Bagatelle Forces area. And I also want to thank you for this new commitment, sir. I would have provided to you a very exhaustive list of small business and fishing requirements, and I'm happy that you have committed some money to this. And we've been working, I can let you know as a member of parliament, I've been working very closely with the village council. And so far the village council have been on point in implementing the government projects, and they're very accountable and all of this, and very transparent. I want to thank the chairperson and the council, of course, for working with me. And to reassure you, PM, that these 20 new homes, that already in my mind I can think of 20 recipients for these new homes. You're talking about 20 extremely needy people. And I'm sure I see the chairperson of the council shaking her head. We would have discussed this time and time again, people whose homes are beyond repair that we need. And I'm pretty sure that, that as soon as possible we will begin. And we will schedule the signing of the contracts when you're on island, rest assured, so that you can, again, not reprimand, but again advise the contractors like we've done also in terms of delivering quality work to their people, their relatives. So I really want to thank you again, sir, for your commitment to that part of the country, and of course to the rest of my cabinet colleagues for being here with me this evening. Now, this is the time when we ask you, the audience, to come forward. There's a microphone right here in the middle. It's a cordless mic, so you can walk up right in the aisle. You walk up right to the stand. We'll be taking notes of your questions, comments. Of course, feel free. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, please. Yeah. I tell people we are politicians, so criticism is part of our... Hello, please. Criticism is part of our daily life. All we're asking is that you do it in a respectable way. And of course, as I tell people, it's good to criticize, but it's also good now and then to hear somebody say, thanks the Pal Rep and the government for what is done, and let's talk about what is to be done in the future. Thank you very much. The floor is open.
Yes. Good evening, Minister of Cabinet and people from Bagatelle and Fab. Okay. Now, I have a first question, not really question, but maybe an advice to the Minister of Education. And I want, Mr. Seja, I would like you to take that very serious. When the children leave to college with their master's degrees, as an accountant, you find in a staff and an accountant, they're asking you 2 years experience. Where can those children get that from? If you have to employ those children and they will gain experience like our Prime Minister did. Second note, Minister of Communication and Works, I would like to see more supervision in the government money in the country. More supervision, please. And to Mr. Darroux, Minister, in the new hospital we get in, I would like to see a change. And you cannot talking about the nurses, wash your hands, clean yourself, that's a good thing. But you cannot leave the hospital with the same uniform. You come out in the inside and hop. Coming from a bus, going to the hospital to the patient. I want to see that change. I really want to see that change and take that very serious for me. And my last advice again to, I think that one is straight to my loving PM. PM, there are times for Cadbois, I want to see Cadbois Road. Cadbois Road being patch. Do your best if you can fix that road for us, because the garbage truck refused to go Cadbois, and the storm drained the bill. The storm drained the bill there. If it wasn't the storm drain, Bagatelle would be worse than Petite Savanne. So with the storm drain, we calling for a back road that could go down from Cadbois to go down in the center of the, on the swim to Falling Square. Now again, PM, we don't looking for everything, but there are times, certain places we can help. PM, listen to me. Mr. Darroux, don't disturb the PM. PM, if you make your research at Public Works, I talking on the behalf of myself. I can build roads. You don't need to give me the entire road, but I need to maintain my family too. And I need a piece of road. I don't want to come to you and tell you, I need $2,000. When it finish, who I going to? I need a piece of work. I could employ more people with me, and then I can make a profit, maintain my family. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I forgot to say we'll take 5 people at a time, and then we will address your concerns or those we have to. So feel free. Now is the opportunity to voice your opinion. Don't wait for after the meeting. Hello? Don't wait for after the meeting for it to go and fall from small groups and babie. Come and say what you have to say now in a nice, respectful way, and we will take note of it. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Mr. Prime Minister, my views is I love the government and I appreciate the government movement system. I love my pirate. I work for the government for many times. I have gone to education. Number 1. I make contract for them. Or we all, I have to say for them. I know. So I bless all what the government doing, but that government is the best government I get in Dominica. I will die. And I can never regret. I can never regret. And I love that government bring in. But I still work with the government. But my issue, I have to speak. I live in Saint, but I have a problem with my people, but still, that's like a sin. But my big problem to live fab. I have a grown-up old man. You pay the man. I begin my little contract. I want to get my toilet and make my little crossroad like a bridge, because he living still. Because he needs it. So, if you can give me that, I appreciate that, I love that. But my government, I will always get job, I will always work, I will always there. God is good. Bless you. Bless you, and you're good, you're blessed. You have to start at the end of time. Nobody will take your cross and your rasta.
Yeah, good night, everybody. No. Yeah. Yeah, in spite of all things, I'll give respect to Prime Minister and it, our representative, and all Peter says, yeah, it's a vibes and mountain. Yeah. In spite of all things, no. Listen quietly. In spite of no thing, just a little level. No, listen, in spite of no thing. No, okay. Listen. Okay. Well, everybody know, I'm a musician. Only there for music. Because music is a beautiful thing to put us together. We dance together, nice together. Okay? No, I'm a music group in Bagatelle. John Fountain know that. You know me. I'm a musician. The only thing I want to do, I got my music, I want to put it on a record. A little bit on the government to give me, not no big thing. I can scratch my body. Just a little bit to just make me do my little album. And I know my Prime Minister love it, the kind of music I got. And the only thing, no, let's put ourselves, music is the only thing will blend us together, you know. One be we nice up, you know. We don't talk about nobody, we just put things together with music. The only one thing I know, I'm a Dominican. The only little bit I want from my Prime Minister, give me a little bit to us. Let me make an album, man. If you don't like it, I pay you back. The only thing I love, yes, is music. I don't need nothing. I can work. I can do anything. Just give me a little vibes, a music on the album, and love be all of us. End it. We love it. Bye-bye. Yeah, man.
Good night, everybody. Good night, my Prime Minister, it was carried. Good night, every sister, good night. When my Prime Minister it was carried, I need road. I need what to go at my home. I have already 86 years old. It's me have to carry that road, bring my road. And it's a lot of work for me. It's a lot of work for me. I already have 86 years. Reaching a fountain from Bagatelle and from disaster. 86 years old. It's me have to bring my road. The ambulance come to get it. The man is not for inside. The man was said, well, I got hard work for me. I call on you. I need net road this month. That is easy road. That is an easy road to do. That is an easy road to do. Easy road. I am calling on you. You are my minister. That road has to fix. Because I have a problem. I have a problem to get this lady by the road, down the road, and make the road. It's a lot of problem for me. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
I would say good afternoon, good night to the Prime Minister of Dominica and the members of Cabinet. I would say a blessed good evening to you all. And I just come to thank you all for what you are doing for Dominica. All around in Dominica. And everybody can see, eyes can see, all eyes can see. And we can be thankful unto you all, and we are thankful unto you all for what you are doing in our district, in our area, and all about in Dominica. Like some people will say, the government doing their work or they're doing their duty. Like I would say, if you buy a nice dress for your wife for her birthday, she will tell you, thank you. Your daddy will raise you up from youth, and as you grow in, he will buy things for you. That is his duty, but he likes to be thankful. We thank you, Prime Minister Oswald Skerry, and all well. May the Lord bless you all, and may you continue in the name of Christ, our Lord. And may the Spirit of God leads you to do good, because you are doing good. May the Lord bless you.
Moment of silence, please. Good evening. My name is Griffin Defoe. I got some direct requests to the Prime Minister on the behalf of the village of Fosasia. The Fosasia River, the people are very concerned from the first disaster about the water ridges during that disaster time. We have been suggested that if it is possible that a river could get river walls. So I would like the Prime Minister to keep this in mind, and further down you could give us some information whether if this could come through. Secondly, the water supply from Fosasia have been number one from creation since I know it. After the disaster, the intake, the river took it away. After the disaster, my crew and I put a 5-gallon and 25-gallon drum to supply the community with water. Up till now, it has been supplying the community with water. Even though when it is raining, the Doasco water is off, Fosasia is still there. It's never go blank. So we need help with that, whatever way you can. That's the request from the people from Fosasia. Number 3, after the disaster, some villagers come to me, a lot of them Bagatelle, Fosasia, Retio, concerning landslide through their land, that they lose small-scale farmers. I would like to know if the Prime Minister have any plans to help those farmers who lose their crop, especially bay leaf and etc. My final question, let me get to it, give me a minute. Okay, community house, wall. All right, one more question. That's a question now to the Prime Minister. Everybody knows we live in a democratic society. Is that correct? I'm not asking, I'm just telling. I'm a very give it applause for what the Prime Minister and my PIREP is doing. But I had an experience in a meeting with my PIREP. Since we live in a democratic society, my PIREP came up here once with a sum of money bring to the council. And I told the council that this money I wanted to be spent in a certain way on this contract. But whatever I decide, it is not for debate. If you do not agree, I can take my business somewhere else. I would like the Prime Minister to understand this one direct. Is this democratic? Thank you.
Well, I will respond to your comments. So you can have a say. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. The points raised by Tony are very important points. And I think in his first statement or question, he spoke about most jobs you apply for, they ask for qualifications, but also ask for experience. And this is one of the objectives we've been saying is part of the National Employment Program, where you may have a degree, but you still may not be able to get a job if you do not have the requisite experience. And therefore, what the NEP is doing, among other things, is to providing a number of young people across Dominica who have degrees, both first degrees and masters, but are unable to get a job because of that very critical requirement, experience. And what we've seen happening is that based on the performance of those persons under the NEP, they have been able to either get a job, a permanent job where they work, or when they apply elsewhere, because they now have the experience, they're able to get the job and work successfully. So the NEP is playing a very critical role in providing many young people with the experience they need to be able to better place themselves in a position to get the jobs in our country. We take note of supervision. You know, there must be more supervision and management of a number of projects. So we accept that, and we always discuss that in the cabinet and within the government. But I think and this is the point I made about the contractors, and I was not pointing my finger at any one contractor or anything, I was speaking in general. That across the country, I believe that there must be a greater level of diligence. You know, this is our country. When you're doing a job, let's do it properly. So if you're patching the road, don't skip some holes because you want to get more work next month. You know, and do it properly. Because all of us who are driving on this road, all of us will walk on this road, it is to our benefit. If we're given a contract, we have to use the correct amount of cement. Because if we do not do that, it will get washed away very quickly. And who will be walking in those potholes? We who live here. So there is a very important responsibility on the part of the contractors to do the work diligently at all times. The Cadbois Road, as we've announced in the country, we have launched and we have commenced a national community road enhancement program. And the idea is to rehabilitate or to construct every village road in Dominica. And how much money do you get for the first tranche in this constituency? About 1.5 or so? Yeah. So we have gotten about $1.6+ million so far under the Community Road Enhancement Program. And once the budget is passed, then we'll have a second round of community roads, of which Cadbois is part of it. And the cost for the Cadbois we have is $254,000 to construct that road in Cadbois. So when the second round comes around, then Cadbois will be part of that second round, and we expect to construct this road and to create a better access to the residents there. But as we know, everything can happen at the same time. Because I said to you, we just committed $500,000 for small business development, fisheries and so forth. That could easily do the Cadbois Road and still have change left. You see what I'm saying? So, and we only have one treasury in Dominica. Okay? So as we go along, we could do this. Just the crossing I said to you is costing us $169,000. You know, and we have asked the contractor to go ahead and do it on credit. So once we pass the budget, because we understand the urgency of it, it's raining a lot, and many of you are having difficulties in crossing this river up the road there. So we have asked him to go ahead and do it for us, and we will pay him after the budget is passed and so forth, just to bring relief to you, the residents of this part of the country. The issue of the water supply, the power has been in touch with DOASCO. We are in fact waiting on DOASCO to give us a comprehensive report and assessment of what is the existing problem, what needs to be done, and how we need to fix it, what's the cost of fixing it. So that is in DOASCO's hands to advise us. But also say, as we know, Erica affected a number of water sources across Dominica. You know, all of the reservoirs have been affected, I mean, dramatically across the country, especially in the southern part of Dominica. So we take note of the points raised by gentlemen, and that we're working on and so forth. With regards to the farmers, I must say that we are a bit tardy in responding to some kind of compensation, or not compensation, but some kind of assistance to farmers who lost their crops during that time. We're a bit tardy on this. So we take responsibility for this, and we hope that we can fix it soon after the budget is passed this year. But we have the names of the farmers, an assessment was done. We have what needs to be what each farmer should get to assist. But let me make it very clear to people, to all of you, that the government has no legal obligation to provide any assistance to anybody. So it is not an entitlement. It is because of the benevolence or the good heart of the government we reach out to people. Okay? Because in the past, if you were a banana farmer and you had wind crop, right? Banana insurance. When your yam or your barley and anything got mashed up or destroyed, there's no government coming to assist you. The first government that has started to assist people who have been affected by storms is this Labour Party government. You understand? So it is not a legal entitlement. It is because of this government. This is why, if there is a different government in place, a number of things we're doing are not obligated to continue. And you always see the opposition criticizing us for a number of things we're doing. All of these things we're doing are policy decisions taken by the cabinet, and any government can change it at any time. So it is not a law that you have to go to Parliament to amend it. And my friend, I know him by nickname, but I can't say that nickname on the radio. Randolph, you know. You know. But we take note of it. I believe, in speaking part, I believe that you're talking really about a footpath to your home. Not necessarily a road, but a footpath. And I think that is something that's easy, that can be done, that should not cost much money. So Randolph, we'll organize that for you. Okay? But you tell us this month. But I cannot do it this month, I can do it next month for you. Okay? All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And on the final point, which my friend from Fonseca raised about a democratic society and what Dr. Darroux may have said. I think there may have been wrong phrasing or wrong reporting of what actually may have transpired. But as to say, the Parliament has a responsibility, because anything that goes wrong in these communities, you blame him and me. Right? So if he is the Parliament and he sees there's some things that have to be addressed based on your request, and he goes and he makes representation for those things, I do not believe that somebody else should have the authority to change it. And that's what he is saying, that the monies came for A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and this is what it should be used for. Because and even if he has to change it after it has been approved by the Minister of Finance, he would have to write to the Minister of Finance and say, look, the monies that I approved for the road, for whichever road, we want to use it to build homes because there's an urgent situation confronting some families. So we have to ensure that these things are done properly, because when it is approved in the government system, it is copied to the Director of Audit, it is copied to the Financial Secretary, and it is copied to the ministry concerned. And then it goes also to the Treasury. So when the money leaves the Treasury, we know what the money ought to be used for. And so if it is changed at the local level, it can create a problem for proper accounting. So when the Director of Audit will come to the council and he says, look, the money was for this, and you use that, who authorized it? So I think we have to understand these issues to appreciate where the Parliament may be coming from. But it's important for us to work together to get things going. And this is why I love councils. And this is why I have been using, as Minister of Finance, councils across the country. As we speak, I mean, for this financial year, so for example, councils would have received over $40 million from government to implement projects and programs for us. $40 million. I give you the assurances that you won't find it anywhere else. You understand? You won't find it anywhere else, because councils, by and large, do things much quickly. They're more efficient sometimes. They can save some money for you sometimes. They can stretch the money sometimes. And in most cases, they are more efficient than the government. And so we use them to implement government programs and so on. But it's important that there be an understanding, a mutual respect, and a working relationship between the Parliament and the councils. Once that is there, the people are the ones who will benefit.
Thank you very much, Mr. PM. And PM, just to add to what you said, although I think you addressed it perfectly, I really think, as you rightly said, that this is being relayed really improperly. And since the gentleman addressed it on national radio and, of course, international radio, I think it's also remiss of me if I don't. Like I said, from time to time, we'll have differences of opinions, but I really think it is, I don't think it is true, okay, to try to create the impression that myself and the Bagatelle Village Council, that we haven't been working well together. Like, time to time, we will have differences of opinions, as I said, that maybe in terms of contractors, beneficiaries, and every time, and anybody who says otherwise, they can stand up and prove me wrong. Every time money is received, I'll make sure that I meet with the council, we sit down, we discuss. Yes, I would have my own views on certain things and my own opinion on certain things, but to make it appear that we're just dictating to the village council what do I really think you're wrong, sir, in sending the wrong message. And again, PM, I said I would have touched on it, the issue of the land and loss of land and loss of crops, etc. This is an act of God. And using the word compensation is wrong. Any compensation would have to be a check from above. What this government, okay, so what we try to do is to try to bring some relief. As the Prime Minister said, we would have spent millions of dollars after storms, especially fishermen who sometimes are not so, who don't listen to advice given and secure their boats, etc. Millions of dollars following tropical storm and hurricane, in replacing boats and engine lost at sea. So we'll take another round of questions. Feel free. Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Honourable Prime Minister, thank you. The Ministers of Government, the Senator, everyone present, and people online listening. Good evening. First, I would like to say thank you to the Government of Dominica for this opportunity, not just to update us on what is going on, but also this back and forth conversation. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you. I have 2 points. I'm from Point Carib, and I've been here in Cadbois, Fosseja, Bagatelle, everywhere. Now, these are the sister villages that form the community, and I'm happy for all the assistance they're getting. But Point Carib has an issue with the river at Cocoa Estate. Once rain falls, it floods, and it has never been unblocked since Erica. A lot of help has been going on, and I know Erica did a lot of damage. I don't live here, but I study at Barbados, and I came down during the Christmas after Erica and then during the summer. And every time I came down, I saw more work being done, and we're grateful for that. You know, that's great. But we'd like to look at Point Carib, the river, and we would also like, yes, crash barriers likewise in certain places. So the new road that's coming up, we expect all this to be done. So when we're meeting with the contractors, we're going to bring up that query and this issue, which is very important. That's one. My second point is to deal with education. As a student myself, I believe firmly education is the key. And I think we should have more people here studying, especially medicine and law. These are very, very, very important. And I heard my Honourable Pal Rep speak about saying that, you know, some people, like, we don't go forward in this community to push for these opportunities. And it could be, I don't know, whatever the reasons are. But I got the opportunity, I applied, I got through, I took it, and I got through. Now, also, I think that we should have, when it comes to like the education, maybe ways to educate the people, especially the young people, on the opportunities available. Yes, it's online, but even me sometimes, when I go online, it's like I miss it by a day or two. Deadline has passed or whatever. To me, I don't know if it needs to be advertised on the radio, advertised on TV. I don't know if it is, but it should be advertised more so that people can see and then push themselves to get it done. Okay, once again, thank you for coming, gentlemen, and we appreciate it, and we hope to see maybe within the next couple months another visit so we could have this back and forth. Thank you.
Yeah. 1 second, okay? Let me make a point. In respect to the road and the river in Cocoa Estate, this is why it's important and a very important point, and we're aware of it. This is why we will be hosting a town hall meeting here in Bagatelle on Wednesday. because we have identified a number of interventions to be made on that road. Okay? As a matter of fact, it is the government who extended the project to Bagatelle, because originally it was stopping down at the Geneva, and we insisted that it be extended to Bagatelle to cover the road improvement in Bagatelle, and the Parliament was very forceful on that. So we have identified a number of interventions to be done on this road. So the consultants have those interventions. Very critically, the consultants are coming to hear from us here in Bagatelle. So it's important for us to identify the areas that we think should be considered as part of the project, because that will form part of the revised schedule of works to be undertaken. But we already captured that point you made, so in respect to consideration on improving the roadworks from Loubert all the way to Bagatelle. But that I'm co-quested, we're familiar with it and the concerns there. And I will give you the assurance that if it doesn't make it to the funding provided by the British government, we ourselves will fund it, because it is a very important aspect of the safety for the residents in Point Carib. So we're very familiar with this. We take your point in respect to the education, and this is why we urge people to continue to listen. But I agree with you, some of you miss it, but you can also write to us, making the request. Anybody who has assistance, reach out to us so that we can get you, because I agree with you, education is critical, and we need to ensure that all of us take advantage of the opportunities available now. Do not wait for tomorrow. Take advantage of it now. The opportunities are there. I am urging you to reach out and take advantage of the opportunities. Thank you.
Firstly, I want to recognize the presence of the Honourable Prime Minister and leader of the Dominican Labour Party, Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, or dear Parliament, Dr. Darroux, other members at the head table, Senator Blanchard, Honourable Douglas, and other members of Cabinet who are present here with us tonight. We are thankful to be graced with your presence. I just want to reiterate on a few points that were made here tonight. Firstly, words cannot express how thankful we are to the Honourable Prime Minister and his team for what he has been doing for Dominica. It would be very selfish of us to say that Dominica is going nowhere. I'm not very old, but I can tell from where we have been to where we are going forward, and we expect good things from the current administration. We have a leader who is very considerate of the most important things: education, healthcare, or elderly. A man whose vision is to see that every home has a university graduate. Every home has somebody who will be educated enough to be a breadwinner or to provide for their family. A man who wants to see that the hardworking people who work hard for the country live comfortably, taking care of the elderly. By educating the youth, he is providing well for the future of Dominica. We have a hardworking Prime Minister and his team, a hardworking government, and we need to be aware of that, and we need to support that. We need to adopt the culture of dispelling rumors and fake news, like they say. A rumor stops when it reaches a wise person's ears, and it's up to us what we decide to share and what we decide to keep. When we hear things and we know it's not true, some of us take to social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, and we share it. By share it, you are aiding in spoiling the name of your island. When you spoil Dominica's name, when you aid in that, when people from overseas research, they don't see Dr. Kenneth Darroux or the Honourable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit. They see Dominica, and if you damage Dominica, you damage it for yourself and everybody else. So we need to be careful of those things. Secondly, I want to narrow down to our dear Parliament, the Honourable Dr. Kenneth Darroux. I don't know how we're going to say he's a hardworking man and a man who has his people at his heart. Not because I am blessed with the opportunity to work closely with him, but because I can see. As medical doctors or district doctor, we saw the types of things that he did for us. What makes us think that as our member of parliament, as our representative that is going to be a different person. The same thing continues. Right? And I just want to, sometimes I hear people saying, we don't see our pal rep, we don't. I just want to stress on a few points. Number one, we like to say that Erica happened over 2 years ago. But like the Honourable Prime Minister and Dr. Darroux said earlier, the amount of damage that was done goes beyond, far beyond 2 years of repair. So we cannot talk and not say that Erica. We all know that Erica did put us a far way back. We have to take into consideration that our Honourable Pal Rep is the Minister of Health. The Ministry of Health is a very diverse ministry. I can say that he was probably the Pal Rep who was most affected by Tropical Storm Erica. We all know that. He is faced as member of Parliament for the constituency. He is faced with the responsibility to ensure that all his people are well. He is not obligated to do it, but out of the good heart of the Honourable Prime Minister and our Pal Rep, they have decided to do it. Things take time, and everybody knows that, it's stressful. But we cannot just do things vai-ki-vai. There's principle, there's protocol, we are faced with setbacks, there's a lot to be taken into consideration. We have to take into consideration things like global warming, climate change. We have to take into consideration the building back better concept, because it's not one thing to be done vai-ki-vai, and 2-3 years after it's done, we are faced with the same problem. Number two, our dear Pal Rep is also under the Ministry of Health. We have the ongoing new National Hospital project going on right now. It is under his portfolio and as his responsibility to supervise the project as well, even if there are other bodies in place to supervise the project. So basically what I'm saying, your Pal Rep is not just sitting in his office on his phone all day doing nothing. You have a working Pal Rep, and we need to learn to appreciate the work that is being done by our Pal Rep. And I will use, for example, us at store for years. My father used to try so hard to see that road. Although the project is not fully completed, I no longer have to put all shoes on my feet and walk to the main road and change my shoe. Even that basic thing. Like the parapet stayed, the bread bus can come up to my house. If somebody is sick, we no longer have to carry them halfway. The ambulance can come into the village and pick. And to hear people say road is not development, it hurts to hear people say, of course it is. Road is development, And just to express, sincere thanks. I don't know if it's just me, but I see nothing but going forward. You do not need a university degree, high school diploma, a college degree to see that we are moving forward. We are not where we may want to be, but from where we came from to where we are, we can see we are moving forward and nothing but forward. And on a special note, to speak on behalf of the residents of Stowe, we are more grateful to the Honourable Pal Rep and the Minister and Government for our road. On behalf of our Constituency Association, we want to pledge our continued commitments to our dear Pal Rep. You can depend on us for anything and everything, and we have you in our prayers. God bless you. Thank you, Honourable PM and members of Cabinet. Good night.
I didn't tell her to say all that. The people, she came up on her own to say that.
Good evening to the head table. It is my pleasure to be in the house tonight. But remember, I'm inside the school. As we all know, labor cat travail. The people that are saying that nothing is not happening, they are not listening. They are not looking at GIS. We have doctors overseas coming to look after our eyes. The people that are saying that nothing is not happening, go to the doctors overseas and let them clean your eyes and watch what is going on in Dominica. I just feel myself in a kind of a way. Anyway, I have a long speech. Head table, give me a little break for tonight for my very first time. There is a word that said that good things come for those who wait. I am right or wrong? Good things come for those who wait. But I always listening to the town hall meetings. Although I just said, I am an old daddy. I am not old, but I'm old. But that old I am old can't prevent me from listening to what is going on. Anyway, when I listen to the town hall meeting at Bellevue, I say, yes, it is coming to us in here. After that, I heard that is in Pichelin. I say, no. After that, I understand that, it's not understand, it was in Grand Bay. I say, for those of you all there that don't know, I'm Mr. Robin, Anyway. When it reached in Grand Bay, I said, I want to prepare something to say. But when I saw it leave Grand Bay, go back down, I say, hour. Something should be wrong with us. But as I have said already, good things come for those who wait. And today, look, I was here with our Prime Minister and all the hard-working ministers. We're having good things. We're having good talk. We're getting good results from our pirate. Anyway, I have 2 suggestions and 1 question. But before I started, could I give a little story? Doc, could I give the little story? Yes, sir. All right. I wouldn't mention the person name, There is one person in Dominica, I am not saying from what particular place. When our Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, came out from where he was, somewhere, when he got his doctor, how you say it, doctor what? There was a gentleman that was on the other side. I was not present, but I was listening. A neighbor of his telling him that, Doctor, got some scary in your doctor. You know what he said? Mo pa kay l'hôpital. Depuis c'est scary qui kay en l'hôpital là. Mo pa ka ale. Mo di we. No, other one, very short. From St. Joe. He said that all labor rights ni même were pulled. And when I use that word, for those, you all should know who is the person. All labor rights have were pulled, but he feels that he's the only one that could speak a good English in St. Joseph. You know what I'm talking about, okay? All right. Coming to my 2 observations and a question. Dr. Darroux? Yes, sir. You know that I am in charge of a district down at Fonseca. And I want to thank the government and the people in the cooperative of the oil society. It is not we, because it's a factory for all of us. So I cannot say it's my factory. I am in charge of it. And it was very old. And then they called me to a meeting and they said to me, they will build back that factory for us. I said, thanks. To shorten it, they break it down, the old one, and they put it new. Thanks for the government who get the cooperative to bring back that still in the way it be there. Right now, when you're inside that distillery, the road, thank you, labor cat for that. You could, I am not lying, all the people that is around that area there, you could stay right inside the distillery and the transport. You could say, I want $1 bread. Just stretch your hand through the road. May say, me too, labor cafe. Okay, that is one. Now, water. After Erica, But I had built something. It will take too long for me to use it. Anyway, I had water from the old system up at the top, the old one. Bring it down. I was the only one who put out money to bring water to the distillery. As all of us know that we are depending on the bay oil. So I had to try my best. I go to my son, I called my son, I talked to him, I said, look that happening, look that. What are we doing? So he told me, Daddy, what you can do, let's do it. So I tell him, let's go Grand Bay and get some material, pipes and whatever, because that is our life wood. So we go and we do our business. Anyway, things going good, up to that present time. But our other problem I have is pit latrine. We have a nice building, bay oil, nice factory, well built. It looking nice, light, all inside. I bought long and fluorescent bulb. It's just it's too much to say. I love it. No, before that district had marched down, there are some guys that told me, Pastor Robin, they put me on latrine line. Somebody guys say, because all of us know the use of a latrine, and when you are inside and you feel that you have to go and do your business, rain is falling and they are taking heat. All the while you're taking heat for about a week, 2 weeks or more. Even though it's one night, it is heat you are taking because you have to be continue giving the fire. No, a little rain and whatever. No. There are some people in the area. With Duasco water, they used to have it. But before the rain, they say, that's not the rain is about to fall, no water. What I am asking, if possible, you could help us in any way. If it's the materials, we will do the working, because then people down there, they are ready. Because when you see Harry have that water open, but it is not spreading all about, very close. It does get my system to, the cistern, when I say system, the cistern to get hot, so the oil does burn. So we're getting a loss from that. The reason why, because the pipe is a little bit too small. So what I'm saying, if you could talk to Duasco to give us some bigger pipe to bring to the distillery, and at that time, the few people that are attached to it can get a little more water. No, my last question, I have more, but the next time I'll bring it down. My next question is to my doctor. Now, the audience, you all are there present. I would like you all to help me to say, Doctor, I need your injection. Are you all ready? Say after me, Dr. Skerritt, we need your injection. Thank you. Now, my PM, my government, I love you, we love you. I am a daddy, I can't even count. But the amount of grandchildren I have, I would like you, PM, to give me something to put at my home. When the children grow up, at that time probably I might go, I might on the canopy there looking at them, for me to tell them, Mr. Skerritt, one way. So some men followed it. And I don't want him to go. They can do whatever they like, because when you see they go inside that little box there, you don't know what they're about. But with me, I don't want them to cross over their grandpa or your daddy. So Dr. Skerritt, you have touched the hammer. You have driven the nail direct to the head. So I am waiting on your reply, what I'll get to put at my own. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take five more questions before we close up, or 5 more people. Yep.
I want to say good night. For I cannot say it as the other children that take school, because as I will always say, I don't take school. I am an old lady, and I did not take school to learn English, to speak English as the young one. Yes, so I am going to say I'm going to speak patois. So, mon ka hope que tout ça qu'il a, ça parle patois. Même si mon en patois, mon anglais a sorti à dingue. So, moi venu ici après-midi, pour moi parler, c'est pas pour parler esprit, c'est pour moi ça, oui, messieurs. Or, Dr. Prime Minister Roosevelt Scary. You know why? Yes, my husband answered. He said he will give us an injection. What he says there about the lady that say that I hear, the lady, but when the lady said, "Ipakia l'hôpital," I said to myself, "Oh, il me que pour docteur Kaili Ipakia l'hôpital encore." That is what I understand. So, she need un doctor en place, et bien Ipakia l'hôpital encore. So I come to give him thanks and praise for his work. Pour ça, il a fait en Dominique. Eh bien, le pas pour nous garder un monde, pour nous dire un bagage. Mon cas changé en 7 ans. Monsieur, pour qu'on ait un premier ministre pièce, il faut qu'on ait un politique non plus. Écoutez-moi bien, eh bien, nous sommes un prayer group en disant Christianity. Eh bien, nous allons à yon cesser pour Dieu. Eh bien, nous allons à cesser ça là. Là, yo demandé mon pour ouvrir prier, dit prier. Moi prier. Eh bien, laisse ça, freedom te Karen. Freedom te Karen, eh bien, Edison pour la place freedom. Eh bien, nous tenons à tout bisin. Eh bien, là, mon venu pour prier. Moi, dis, papa, mon Dieu, à la prière, moi. Mon commande un petit grâce pour moi souple, nous souple, en pays, nous, en communauté, nous. Notre gouvernement, nous, pour ça sauve for the welfare of all. That was my prayer. Mon doux, ça parle anglais ou ça? Mais, autant que m'ont dit la prière, Father, help us with a government that will feed everyone to the welfare of all. Il pas pour tant long. Yo fight pour yo te pencher là, mais yo pas point. C'est Douglas. Rosie Douglas. That was here because you have his own alliance. You have to vote by. Et jour à nous la côté. Ça qui il tient qui te vote ba vocation ça. Et yo akay moi nous toute la côté mais moi yo ka quoi ma malin mais mon malin. Yo là pour si yo dit zéro cas qui pompe yo mais moi la ka faire yo mon ka dire pas la zoka pour. Et ma ka parler. Et là yo tient les boy ahead. Yo était calme. Mon Dieu, because nous gagnons. C'est ça, ça vient pour goûter, nous gagnons. Nous allez où? Eh bien, les mots gardés 2-3 jours, as Ian said, it don't take it long. His uncle died. He don't take it long, his uncle died. After a while, Pierrot allait. Mais, Edison te dit, il a tué yo. Yonde a lot. Yo kai posecha yo yonde a lot. Modi an che mo yo kai posecha yo yonde a lot. Ou ka kopon di se chance crête là ou te banou pour nous de faire figue là. Eve mi tout à terre la ka gade nous eve au figue. Moi c'était un madame qui te ka faire figue avec mari moi. So moi je connais compte figue, nous pas ka taper reject en figue nous de ka aussi figue nous bien. So la vini yo taper on vote, we fait un vote, vous mettez Mr. Scary pour Prime Minister, mon dit, When I hear they say that, every mountain largely, mon père ça, avec papa mon dit merci, vous mettez un jeune, avec mon dit mes derniers garçons moi, il plus vieux qui monsieur oui, avec monsieur qui conduit nous, ben mon Dieu, vous savez ça vous quoi faire. Avec le mon cas ouais, ça, Premier ministre a fait en Dominique, nous pas qu'à taper l'autre comme ça. Avec mon cas dit fier nous pas. Soit nous perdons, nous pas ni l'autre. Avec mon cas dit tout le monde ça. Mon cas dit en parler nous. So mon cas dit indépendant à présent. Depuis nous perdons nous ça là, nous pas ni rien encore. Nous que fini. Avec nous ça, bon mon disons quelque chose. Avec dis-moi si c'est vrai. En tout, let me tell you, I am 82 years. No. Vraiment? Mon 82 years l'âge moi. Moi start vote. Les mon dit 20 years. And from that 20 years, mon ka vote Labour. So mon ka moi faire Labour. Labour. Mis actuellement, mon ka Labour ka travaille. Ma jamais ouais ça. Ma ka dou freedom pas fait quelque chose ça. Freedom fait quelque chose. Chaque cas fait quelque chose, et ici nous voyons mes femmes, il fait quelque chose, ça y est, on fait, il fait. Mais nous, ça là, qu'à travail. You understand? Avec la équipe plus jeune parmi le groupe là, avec garder tête là, garder savoir, autant, bon, mon cas dit quelque chose. Dis-moi, ça, mon cas dit ça. Dis-moi, tout le monde répond moi. Est-ce que c'est vrai? En tout gouvernement nous a passé, et si Dominique, est-ce que ça jamais entendu un docteur? Mais nous avons payé docteur. So, qui est-ce qui s'en va? Pas yon. Pas yon qui s'en va. Ou là pour ainsi soit-il. Ou là pour aimer ainsi soit-il. Si vous l'élagez ou que l'agez, mais là où l'agez, mettez yon qui con. Mandez ici c'est con. Mandez ici c'est con. Parce que si c'est pas con, nous pas que nous un bon gouvernement. Amen. Mon son born again believer, mon cap believer en Dieu, en Dieu mon cap believe, mon cap prier bas ou ni 100% bénédiction. Docteur mon, ou docteur mon, là mon ton moun ka di bagay, mon kan di yo so fait bien because il ka aussi besoin trop. Anyway, continuez bon travail ça. Continuez ça au faire. Pas jamais stop. Avec moi, mon compte, mon 60 years qu'a vote. Oh, mais s'il vous plaît, 20, tu as 20. Moi, je dis tout ça, tu as 20. Pour que ça équivalait vote mon qu'a vote les bons. So, et les bons, moi, c'est les bons, mon qu'a. Moi, vers les bons. Alléluia. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, due to time, we are going to take 2 more people and try to make it as concise and brief as possible. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Mr. Prime Minister and Dr. Darroux. I would like to say thanks for everything good that is happening in my community. I'm standing here as the clerk of the Bagatelle Village Council for 19 years now. And the building where the council is operating needs urgent renovation. The roof is leaking. The roof is leaking very, 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 very bad. I have a hard task on my hand. Every day I am leaving the office, I have to be putting buckets here and there, here and there. So we need urgent renovation for the Bagatelle Village Council office. Number 2, we need additional street lights in the community. There are certain areas without street lights, and we have the elderly living in some areas, so street lights are urgently needed. And number 3, we need a district nurse in the community. We have a nurse coming all the way from, she lives in Loubier, and she is working at the Granby Health Center. And she only visits us 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I think that we need a district nurse for the community. Thanks very much.
Okay, let me say good evening to the Honorable Prime Minister and his cabinet colleagues. We want to thank God for you for gracing us with your presence here in Bagatelle. I have a free area of concern, and that's the area where I live in Bagatelle. Now, Dr. Darroux promised that he's going to build a road in my area, and somehow I feel relieved about that. And if there is one time, I really believe that this road is coming, is now. But I must inform you, Mr. Prime Minister, we have been living in that area for almost 40 years without a road. And I, for one, I have spent a fortune on that road, swiping, paying people to swipe the road. So that's a very needed road. And secondly, I want to speak on behalf of my father. Where my father lives, because of the water of the village, it's eroding, his land, messing up everything. So I would appreciate if you could give that some attention, at least to build a storm drain, please. And thirdly, there is an area, above the health center, above the main road, Madam Public Works. It is in need of serious attention, because every time it rains heavily, a chunk of land is going to the sea. And we have people living above, and all of them are my relatives. So I would love to see anything happen to them, so I'm asking you to, if you could consider to give it some attention, please. Thank you.
Final person, please.
Yes, good evening, ladies. The head table, Honorable Prime Minister and your cabinet colleagues, our parliamentary representative. On behalf of the community, I want to also echo my thanks to the government and for what you are doing and what you plan to do. The clerk actually hit the nail on the head. I wanted to mention the fact that both the Minister for Public Works and Dr. Darroux did mention the level of vulnerabilities. We really want to have a nurse station in the community, especially now that we're in the hurricane season, given the cliff and everything else we have to deal with. I also want to encourage our people here to take advantage of the many programs that the government is offering. It's not something that's going to be there forever. I heard of small businesses. I heard of assistance with fisheries, with everything you can think of, and that is unheard of. I know my father and German Corriat and the founders of the village council in this community, they must be smiling in the grave when they hear of the many roads that are being rehabilitated. And I know when in their time they had a monster to deal with to build the Cadbar Road and to build the bridge at Fonsejean. And that basically was the little taxes that were raised in the community. And today that we have a government that's delivering these things at the community level, we are very thankful. Another area I want to touch on is to encourage our people when it comes to taking advantage of the government's program, and that is education. I heard a couple young people spoke about taking advantage of the system. I think people should go all out to educate themselves, especially now that the opportunity is there. Because the John Fontaine family, we were pretty close to the 250,000 mark in terms of our investment in our education. Thank God the figure is going down. But I'm saying that to say that some people, when they get the scholarships, they should be very, very thankful. Because the monies that I'm paying monthly on my investment, I mean, it's my own education. I mean, I could do much more, when I get my paycheck. But I really want the people, the young people, wherever in the world that they're studying and they're assisted by the government, that they appreciate that, because it's not a joke. I mean, some of us, we've been there, we had children overseas, and we know what we have to do to pay for the studies. So I really want to encourage our people to take advantage and to be thankful and to say thanks. And finally, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just begin with the Robins, both Mr. Robin and his wife. And what can I say? Thank you, sir, very much on behalf of the Prime Minister, the government, for your unconditional support throughout the years. And there's nothing really I can say but just to thank you. I mean, your words of wisdom and your support over the years, especially my 7-8 years as a member of parliament, has been overwhelming. And yes, from time to time when I pass by, you would give me my little schooling privately, but you've never stopped encouraging me and supporting me. And I want to thank you for that, sir. And your wife, of course, and entire family. The concerns raised by the village council clerk really repairs to the village council office. It's something I know we've discussed at length with the village council, and I was just whispering to the Prime Minister that if we could at least get the estimates together, because I'm looking at the current building, and honestly, yeah, I think I don't even think we should be talking about repair, but probably just remodeling, breaking down, and so let us see if we can get the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance asked me if we could get the figures together, and let's see how we can begin working on this as quickly as possible. The additional lighting for the community, Madam Clerk, I'm sure you'd be aware just before Erika, we would have gone around the community identifying all of the areas that needed additional lights, street lights. We went as far as supplying the pool numbers to Domlec. Of course, Erika came. But I just want to inform you that just about 3 weeks ago that the government, Domlec, informed us that the Ministry of Public Works, that's Honourable Blanchard Ministry, did pay for the installation of this light that we asked for. So anytime from now, we should see Domlec come in to install these areas that we identified. Of course, there will always be need for more, so we can begin the second round of identifying the areas where that's not going to be lighted. In terms of the district nurse, I remember you had a nurse full-time on staff, but unfortunately, I think she's on study leave as we speak. Again, let me just give you the commitment as the Minister of Health to see how we can restore your full-time nurse here in Bagatelle. We would have spent sometime last year or year before over $200,000 towards the renovation of your health center, and it's looking all beautiful and renovated now. So it's quite a shame, or rather it's a little unfortunate that you don't have a full-time district nurse. So let me see how we can take a cabinet decision to appoint a district nurse full-time to Bagatelle in the quickest possible time. Pastor Elvis, sir, your concerns are noted, and of course we would have had discussions one-on-one, and also with the council, and most of the issues you raise are issues that we are aware of, and of course we would have in our possession the estimates for 2 of the major storm drains that we spoke about, and of course your road project is one that is already on the cards to be done as soon as the budget is passed. Mr. Fontaine, thanks for your input, sir, and also always welcome and thankful for your support. You're one sometimes I call from time to time to get your feedback, being a stalwart community leader, and of course the local government commissioner really value your input and your suggestion, and of course your support from time to time. So once again, I want to thank you all for coming. I will give the Honourable Prime Minister an opportunity to give some final words. But I want to thank you all for coming. You've been such a wonderful and great crowd. I want to thank you for the respectable way that you brought your points across, your criticisms, whatever comments that you made. I really want to thank you. You've been also wonderful. I love you even more after tonight. And again, as I said earlier, to recommit myself to you as a member of Parliament, and again, where I would have fallen short, to give you my commitment that efforts are being made, of course, to be a much better member of Parliament, and not only work on the deliverables like the projects, etc., but to try to be in more communication with you. And PM, I would have given my commitment that I will alternate my Thursdays between here and Pishneh because we have a very large and accommodating community center that I can come every other Thursday. So I'll do one Thursday at Pishneh, the other one at the Bagatelle Community Center. So there's no reason why Bagatelle forces the people to say they're not seeing their pal rep anymore. Come the 1st of August. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this encounter. We'll continue the dialogue with yourself. Whatever promises we make, we shall keep them. Okay, and we shall deliver on those promises to you. And I want to say to you that the suggestions and the comments you've made, we have taken note of all of them. Okay? And we appreciate the recommendations, the suggestions, because this is how we have to work together. You hear from us, we hear from you, we dialogue, because your ideas are important. At the end of the day, you know what is best for your communities, because you live there every day. Okay, you know the challenges, you know what needs to be done to make life better for you. So we'll continue to do so. My friend Mr. Robin made mention about the washroom and so forth. That will be done for the factory. So that'll be done. And of course the 20 homes which the government has committed tonight, we shall do those 20 homes. The $500,000 for the fishermen and small business, those funds will be delivered to the council and to the fisheries cooperative to pass on to the beneficiaries. And of course the Cadbois, I said, will be done in the second phase of the community road enhancement program. But let's continue to work together. Everything will not be happening sometimes as you want them to, but by working together, by sharing your views, sharing observations, we can improve. I said to you, being a PAL rep who has worked and who is working is not easy. There are some who are doing nothing on the other side, they just have to talk, but when you have to go and work for people and to get things done, it is not easy. And every community will believe that their issue is a priority. So you have to now balance this off as a power rep and decide which one you do first, which one you do second. But at the end of the day, when we work together, we can ease the burden and ease the weight on each other and everybody by working together. But we are very pleased with the respect, we're very pleased with the support, and I look forward to coming back next month when we shall sign the contracts for the 20 new homes to be constructed for the beneficiaries of these communities. So let us move quickly. Let us get it done. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you very much.
Praise. Order. Quiet.